Shabbat Shalom, beloved lineage of the eternal truth and friends listening. On this so precious day of Shabbat, cloudy, fresh, rather precious, from California, today is the 16th of Bol, the 8th month. Bol means rain, or rainy, from the year 5987 in our best estimation from the creation of the world. Today is the 24th of November of the year 2018 in the Catholic Gregorian calendar, and we shall study another chapter of the Bride of Yeshua. 44. YHWH Ekhad 23. With this title, The New Medicine, Part 5. Today we shall make the fifth law, as was called by Dr. Hammer, the fifth Moses, Dr. Moses Hammer, the fifth law, and called it the fifth essence. Today we shall see what was he referring to. And it is a study that's rather very important for every one of us, but not just that. We shall continue with what we started with last Shabbat, which is coherence, because what we want is to be in coherence. And today I shall give a specific tool in order to know how we are and what is the reason that we feel what we feel, and what we can or must do to enter into coherence. Very well, so pay attention. It is rather something that will help every one of you. It is something that breaks away with what we believed up until today. It is something that, if you apply it, not whether you believe me or not, because if you believe me, it isn't any good. If you apply it into your life, you shall see the change. We are living Shavuot 71 from the creation of the state of Israel. Today is Shabbat number 22. Rather, we're living special times. We are waiting for some time when Yahweh decides to begin the last prophecies of the world. We don't know when. We have to sometimes draw away from the idea of when, and not to worry about when, but rather how are we. We have things to fix. We have things in which we have to heal. Sometimes we are in a hurry for him to come, but we have not healed what we must heal. We have not learned when we must learn. Today shall not be the last chapter, because I have something very important also and rather shocking that I have to teach, and it shall be in the following chapter if I can develop it correctly and in order the way we are. When I speak about the other laws that Moses Hammer didn't give, but rather I will give the other laws, because I believe that they are necessary, and I believe that the work of Hammer, which has rather been something magnificent, is not perfect, because it needs more things. And I'm also not going to perfect it myself, but I'm just going to help a little bit. Maybe you or somebody comes later to perfect the work afterwards. Very well, as you are, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yeshua that art in heaven, thank you, Lord. We give you for life. We give you thanks because we're at liberty and we can worship and look for your presence and your name and gather together as a special lineage. We give you thanks, Lord, because today we can enjoy this precious Shabbat, and because you make us free. I ask you, Lord, that we may comprehend today's subject and that we may apply it into our lives, that we may heal. All this, Lord, we ask in your precious name, Yeshua HaMashiach. Alleluia. Elohim has blessed with one more year of life The following members of the Eternal Truth: Rejane Pereira de Heyer, Brazil; Claudia Ortiz Calderon, Colombia; Eduardo Miranda Beltrán, El Salvador; Daniel Bautista Sanchez, Mexico; Daniel Herrera, Colombia; Rigoberto Vicente Santiago, Mexico; Andrea Jimenez de Rios, Argentina; Gloria Corredor de Sopó, Colombia; and another member of this group, of this gathering here today, Edward Ernesto Martinez. Many congratulations to every one of you, and today we shall celebrate and thank Yahweh for your birthday, Edward. Where are you at? Oh, right there. Very happy birthday. May Yahweh fill you with blessings. And today we shall celebrate and thank Yahweh that has given you another year of life. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet it is the honor of the king to search out the word. Shemah Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. What does this mean? Listen, O Israel. Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh is one. It is not two, it is not three, but rather is what? One sole person. Very well, and that takes a connotation that is rather deep once we comprehend that Yahweh will be a husband and Israel will be the bride. There is only one husband and only one person whose name is Yahweh Sebaot. Legal disclaimer: I am not a doctor in medicine. I don't have any official title, not as a pastor, nor of anything of the sort. I don't have any official title to diagnose and or treat any sickness or physical ailment. Therefore, what I'm about to teach, it is nothing but informative Quakery. You can take it or leave it. I don't assume any responsibility for whatever I may say. It is based in experiences of other people, non-approved by the system. So then, if you have an ailment of medical sort, something hurts, where do you have to go? To an official medic in the country that you may live in, that you belong to the system, to the establishment that has studied in the university where everybody have only one language, that's medical. And put yourself under their rule and have a good treatment. Exactly. Maybe today, I don't know, depending, I can utilize some of the considered bad words. Do not be offended. It is just so that you understand what is felt really. There's a reason why people, when they get very upset, they use a certain language that goes up in tone, because the emotion goes up in tone. So then it is necessary to use that language to get the emotion. It is not the same thing to say your mother is a lady with problems than to say you're a son of a bitch. It is not the same thing. There is another emotion when I tell you that. I am touching a point that's very sensible within that I would never be able to touch if I say your mom was not a perfect woman. Yeah, she wasn't perfect. When I say the other expression, I go into a level that's deeper of why it's so important in the emotion. It's not that I don't know how to use another language. Of course, I know how to use another language. It's been more than 10 years that I've been teaching and speaking in another language, but it is necessary in order to touch certain points, to touch the emotions, because if the emotions are not touched, you don't get any effect. Do you understand? Very well. Hosea 4, 6 through 9, Jerusalem 2001. My people perish due to lack of true knowledge. Why does the people die? And speaking about the people of Israel, for what reason? Out of lack of true knowledge. But they have a lot of what? False knowledge. They have a lot of that in abundance. Because you have rejected true knowledge, I will reject you from my priesthood or service of Kohens. Because you have forgotten the law of your Elohim, I will also forget your children. The more you are, the more you sin against me. You have changed your glory into disgrace. You feed of the sins of my people and look forward to their guilt. It's talking precisely about, and I will use the word, of the priests. The last portion of that word in Spanish is pigs. Holy pigs, which work in the tabernacle. So then there, Yahweh is speaking to them that they feed off of the sin of my people and look forward to their guilt. And this is applied clearly in medicine, as I've always said, but if you didn't understand it, I'll repeat it. Medics look forward to the sickness of the people, because if they would look forward for the people to heal, if the pharmacologists would want the actual healing for the people, and would do so, they would have no more business. So then they look forward to what? For the sickness. And if the people are not sick, they put substances and they inject us with whatever type of garbage so as to have us sick, and that we go and see them and we depend on them. That is why it says they feed off of the sin of my people. I could say they feed off of the sickness of my people, and they look forward to their sin, their guilt. They look forward, these companies, for them to feel sick. What for? So that they come to see the doctor, and he prescribed them a treatment based on drugs. And generally, the sicknesses are chronic. They cannot be cured. They are chronic sicknesses. If this does not work, what could not work? The pancreas, for example. And precisely, insulin is not being produced in the necessary quantities, then you are a diabetic. And since you're diabetic, I will prescribe to you from now on these pills until you get to inject yourself insulin, because your evil cannot be cured. What does medicine say? It cannot be cured. There is no cure. The same thing as if something does not work well, there is no cure. And it is even worse if you have a sickness that is autoimmune, that attacks itself. Your body is crazy. It's attacking itself, and I will help you for the rest of your life until you die, because the autoimmune sicknesses, which are like AIDS, which are such as arthritis, arthrosis, what other ones? Lupus, and all types of sicknesses that are autoimmune. There's a lot more. It means that the body is attacking you. Your defense system is, say, it's an army that attacks evil, and they attack the viruses and the bacteria, and they attack them to destroy them. It is your system of police and army is crazy. There is a fire that they call it, and instead of pointing their weapons to the bacteria, they point them at your articulations, and you have arthritis. If it's against your skin, then you have lupus, for example. Against anything, it says your body is attacking what you have healed. And it says, how can we help you? Well, we go at least to try to stop your immunological system, and they give you all types of substances and all types there is in order to stop the action of your bad body that is attacking you. That is what the medicine tells us. It is a barbarity that our tissue attack us. That makes no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. And Hammer, Dr. Moses Reichiger Hammer, came to demonstrate to medicine that they were the charlatans and they were the deceivers, and that it is all an entire conspiracy in order to do away with the individual. But as long as they kill them, they treat them with treatments, and they take your money out. You think that the world, which is powerful, and all these companies that are pharmacologists, they were willing to accept what Hammer said. It is impossible to accept what Hammer said. It's the same thing as if the priest or the pope to say, you know what, I saw that in the Bible, it says that I am the beast. I'll stop being the beast. From this moment on, I will destroy the whole Catholic Church because it is a deceit. We're keeping Sunday, and it gets together with other Protestants, and they say the whole Protestant Church, we're wrong. From now on, we're going to keep Sabbath, Saturday, because we've been wrong. Do you think they'll do that? It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Very well. In the last subject, we talked about how medicine that is taught by Dr. Hammer, the New Germanic medicine, has nothing to do with comparison with any type of medicine which is before it. In other words, the official medicine, the non-official medicine, the alternative medicine. Okay, alternative medicine is better in a lot of cases than the official one because it tries to help the patient with that which is the most natural possible that they got and have good results, but they do not understand why or how. So then when we compare traditional medicine as well as non-traditional medicine and alternative, we compare it with the New Germanic medicine, we understand that as much as the official medicines as the alternative ones try to attack cancer, they try to attack the symptom in order to cure the symptom, but they do not understand the why or the how of that symptom. So then when Hammer says you have a symptom, what happened is that you live this. It's been complete obsolete, all types of medicine, absolutely, because that is why there are laws. So then, knowing the laws entirely, knowing everything which Hammer taught, then, yes, both medicine, traditional medicine, as well as the alternative one, well used, well utilized, can be a very efficient tool along with the New Germanic medicine. What am I trying to say? That if there is a cancer that is obstructing something, and I know that obviously I understand why I got it and I know why it came to life, but I was not able to resolve the conflict in time, and I have a conflictive mass that is huge. What happens is that sometimes I need a surgery. So then the Dr. Hammer never abandoned traditional medicine in the way in which it should be applied. It's not that we have all the possibilities of curing ourselves without any intervention from others. Absolutely not. But when we understand the process of why and what for, then we can get help or hand the medicine that has a lot of resources to operate and open and take out, but in the adequate time, in the proper time, and without getting any type of poison to try to not have any cells escape or the lymphatic system and conquer my lungs and have a metastasis. Having understood everything that I say, then it becomes even more valuable, the traditional medicine that is well used. Do you understand? And it's also becoming very valuable, the alternative medicine, whether it may be. Once we comprehend these laws, then yes, we can study the other medicines in order to learn to alleviate the symptoms, not to attack, but rather to alleviate. When the Germanic medicine tells you everything that you'll go through, then we can try to deal with the pain, alleviate the peaks, alleviate the sensations and what we're going through. So then there it does become all the traditional medicine, whether it might be homeopathic or it may be the other medicine that we talked about. Well, whatever other medicine, it becomes a tool of one that knows this medicine, and I can utilize it. Do you understand? Entirely. Very well. That's why I said when this one showed up, the other ones were left completely obsolete. Now, comprehending this, I take tools from the others and I utilize what it's necessary. Do you understand? Very well. Okay, ever since we are born, we live in a collective hypnosis. We do not know what we want, we do not know what we know, and we think that that which we know is good, and generally what we know is wrong. So then we live based on our beliefs. If I was born in Colombia, and I was brought up with Colombian mom and dad, in a Colombian city, in a way of living and feeling what is felt in Colombia, as long as I do not take a step aside and become something else, I cannot understand what it is to be a Mexican. I cannot understand what it is to be a Salvadorian or an Argentinian or a Spanish, and even less a Russian, because I see everything with my Colombian eyes. I use that example. It goes for every country. If I'm Argentinian, and I judge everything with my Argentinian eyes, then I see whatever other country and say, this is wrong, wrong, wrong. Why? Because my mom, my race, my country, and I don't know if it's well to say race, but it is used, what it is race, but say my idiosyncrasy, my culture, it says that that is wrong. So then as long as I don't take out my glasses to see why is it wrong, why does he say he's right and I say he's wrong, as long as I am not able to take away my beliefs from myself, the only thing I will do is a judgment that's entirely impartial and wrong. In other words, partially an unfair judgment. What I will do is an unfair and impartial judgment and wrong. There's no other alternative, because I see everything from my point of view. Because in Colombia, you call it chest, and somebody says I call it breast. That's wrong. It is wrong. Why? Because it's wrong. Let's use good language. What language? What language? The Spanish language? No. The Colombian Spanish language. Of course, if I go to Colombia and I go and land in Colombia, then I have to learn how they speak and think in Colombia, because otherwise I will not integrate myself with the people. If you take an airplane from Mexico where it says, I like milk candy that's called cajeta in Spanish, and I love cajeta, and you have the Mexican glasses and you're not willing to see the world with other beliefs, you fly to Buenos Aires and say, oh, I like that cajeta. Cajeta in Argentina means vagina, but in the worst way possible said. I mean, it is the worst word. It doesn't even sound like pussy in English. It doesn't even sound like that. It sounds even worse. You cannot say, oh, that nice cunt, which is what it would sound like, because the people will not know what you're saying. They'll get offended. And who's right? The Mexican that's always used the word cajeta, or the Argentinian that for him cajeta is destined as cunt. Who's right? Who's right? Neither of the two are right. Both are partial. They are both partial, so then neither of the two are right. Neither of the two is right. When one sees it from outside and says, how ignorant, both of them. The other guy's an ignorant fool because he says cajeta to something that he should not call it cajeta, but the only one that understands is cajeta, and the Mexican says cajeta to the milk candy. They're both ignorant fools because I know more, know that if I'm in Mexico, I say cajeta, but if I'm in Argentina, I say milk candy. So then who is the wise man? The one that knows how to adapt and comprehend and change his beliefs. When I say, no, I have to say this like this because it is so, then I close myself and I cannot grow. When I learn how they speak in Colombia or in Mexico or in El Salvador, or how they say in Argentina or in Spain, then I grow as an individual because I know how to treat every person, and I understand if they speak to me, not just know how to treat them, but also when a Spaniard speaks to me, or an Argentinian speaks to me, or a Mexican speaks to me, I understand them. So then I understand it all. Who is the wise man? The one that does not understand is the idiot fool. Do you understand? So then, we have to be willing to change our beliefs. The first step is to recognize that we are under a collective hypnosis, that we believe that we are right and the other one is wrong. As long as we keep up that we're wrong and the other one right, or vice versa, then we cannot grow. If I am right and the other guy is wrong, the most probable thing is that I am wrong. That is the most probable thing, but I'll explain that later on. Later on, what is the body? The mirror of the soul. So then if I want to know how the soul is, I have to see the body. What ailments does the body have? When one says, oh, I have something here, I don't know what it is. One knows how to decode what it is, knows how the soul is. As long as the person does not know how to connect why he got that or what for, does not notice that his soul is sick. Do you notice that his soul is in incoherence? Very well. The first law of iron, of cancer, or of the ailments that are onco-equivalent has these criteria. First criteria, that every shock that we receive that we call an SBS, which SBS means what? A significant special biological program, has its origin in a DHS, which is a shock, which Dr. Hammer baptized in honor of his name of the son, a Dirk Hammer syndrome. So then every sickness begins with a DHS. When the DHS is produced in the person, an SBS is produced, which is a significant special biological program, because it comes to teach us what problem, what incoherence is in me. Very well. So then, that conflict, which is a DHS, which is a conflict that's very acute, dramatical, lived in solitude, takes place simultaneously in the psyche, the brain, and the corresponding organ. We've already studied all that. The second criteria of the first law is that the content or the color of the DHS of the conflict will determine the location of the hammer focus in the brain, and also what organ will be affected, because it takes place simultaneously. Very well. And the third criteria is that every SBS, or significant special program, takes place in a synchronously way in the three levels: psyche, brain, and organ, from the DHS itself until the whole special program ends. So then, what takes place? Regular medicine and even non-regular medicine, alternative, what it does is that you have a symptom, we'll treat the symptom. They don't fix the SBS that way. You have to treat it in three levels: psyche, brain, and organ. But if I only treat the organ, I cannot heal the psyche. If I don't cure the psyche, I treat that and it'll come back up. I'll treat it, come back up. And we have a synchronicity, and it becomes chronic disease because we have arthritis. I give him things so that it doesn't hurt, but then what will happen later? He'll get it later again. No room for doubt. Arthritis, then arthrosis, because I did not treat the origin. When you treat the origin, the sickness stops having sense. Because if the sickness is a significant, special biological program, once I understand why it came to my life and I fix whether my incoherence, the sickness no longer has sense and says, why am I here? I'm out of here. And that is the true healing. But when I treat the symptom without treating the DHS that's original, what takes place is that it'll never heal. It'll never heal. This you already comprehend, but I explain it so that it is clearly comprehended. The difference between the alternative and official medicine and the Germanic medicine. The Germanic medicine does not only treat the symptom, but treats both the psyche, the brain, and the organ. It comprehends where it started, why did it start, and what for, and what'll take place in the length of the whole special program. If that special program has an end, or if it doesn't have an end, it is because I'm going back into the program, because every program should begin and end. When the program does not end is because I, in some point in time, am receiving an information that already triggers the DHAs. Once again, those are the rails. What is a rail? They are the memories, sensorial ones, which my brain recorded at the time of the DHS. In that precise moment that I suffer the shock that the woman sees her husband with the neighbor, or a thief that enters into the house with a gun, or her son being run over on the street, every shock will record everything that we're feeling, that you don't know that you're feeling, but your brain registers the image entirely, with the temperature, with what you're breathing, with what you're touching, with what you're hearing, and with what you're watching. So then, if we go and we understand the DHAs and we accept it, but we have to check whether there are things that automatically my brain makes me live once again, because I feel that smell once again, and my brain says, careful, when you smelled that last time, your son got run over, and then you have allergies, but not just allergies. You have falling back into the same sickness. Maybe there's a cancer for a certain reason, a cancer in the liver because they kicked me out of my job, and I feel that if I don't have that job, I cannot feed my children, my wife, and myself. So then I start to worry, where will I get money? What am I going to do to bring the food home, the food of paying the rent, paying for the car, paying for everything? That is the food, because all that is a symbol of food. So then my liver starts to grow in order to retain all the glucose that I can, because I am telling my organism that there will be a period where there is lack of food, of morsel. It is a conflict of morsel where there will be lack. So then what takes place? What takes place that if I don't stop that symptom, my liver starts to grow in such a way that sooner or later, if the conflict is still active, it'll start to develop a cancer of liver. So then, once I understand the situation and I comprehend everything, precisely when they kicked me out of my job, I was eating in a restaurant with my boss, a restaurant that I always go to. I'm just giving you an example, real ones. So then there he tells me, or he calls me on the phone, says, you know what, you don't go back to work, there's no more work for you. And I was eating in a restaurant. That restaurant can be recorded in my mind, as in many cases. So then I get another job. I understand the situation that took me there. I already feel well, but all of a sudden I take my family to eat in that restaurant. And what takes place? The cancer comes back. It's incredible. That's why it's so important the rails are. Not just the allergies. In all sicknesses, there can be rails. So then all of a sudden I sit there and it says, and my unconscious mind says, I was sitting in this restaurant when you received the news. You're about to receive the news again. My liver starts to grow. Or if you were healing, you stop the healing. And so he stops it. I feel the active conflict and I forget it gets healed. So then the program starts again. But then I go next week there again. So then I never get cured. A good decoder that is an expert in new Germanic medicine starts to see, why are you not healing? So then he starts to see, in the moment of the THS, he starts to analyze, whatever you want to use that word. So he starts to analyze every situation. Where was it? In that restaurant? Don't even go in front of that restaurant. You have to eliminate it, because every time you go there, it's a rail. There's another way of eliminating that. I'm not going to explain that to you. It's not my function, but my function is try to understand the rails. Do you understand? Very well. And that takes place everywhere. A wife that starts to lose calcium because she loses value, because the husband says, you're an idiot, you're no good, you're no good at all. Good thing that I feed you, because or else you die of hunger. You married me. Look at what you did. I saved you. So then she starts to lose value. Just be thankful that you got married to me. You had an idiot for a husband, and now you married me. So don't treat me bad. So then the husband does all those things to control and puts a whole bunch of garbage in the wife's mind. How do you think she's going to feel? She's going to lose value. So then let's suppose that the situation changes. They go to somebody that knows Germanic medicine, says you're losing value, you're losing calcium because you've always lost value. She says, yeah, the son of a bitch would say this. Let's suppose. So then the husband says, okay, I'll change. He changes. But one day the wife starts to feel well and she's being treated well. But then the wife breaks her husband's favorite mug and on the floor. And she looks at us, oh, you're such an idiot. The first thing is the first word, it's what'll happen. The whole process begins again. So then everything, every word, every smell, every sensation, music. A person is listening to music, and they're listening to music, and the boyfriend says, you know what, I have another girl, I don't want to ever see you again. She was precisely listening to, I don't know, whatever music, some, como es él, I don't know, listening to a song, and the boyfriend said, or not just the boyfriend, maybe she's listening on her headphones and sees her boyfriend kissing another girl. That DHS will be registered with that music. 8 years will pass and she'll listen to that again. Once she listens to it, she'll feel, and it'll cause what happened before. If nothing happened, or she just felt bad, she'll feel bad again. She'll not know why. She'll not even know why. She says, this music brings me nostalgia. What about? Precisely. There's music that makes you feel extremely well. Other makes you very sad. Have you ever heard girls that says, I can't listen to that song because it makes me sad? Why? Because it was registered in a moment that was a very bad time in life. You registered, when I listen to that, I feel bad. But the thing is that she doesn't even know why. Those are the rails, the clues that could be in any sickness, in anyone, absolutely anyone. Diabetes and all the rest, everywhere. Very well. So then, second law of Hammer, every special biological program, or SPS, is developed in 2 phases as long as there is a solution to the conflict. If there's no solution, it'll be an active phase until he dies. Do you understand? So, if there's a solution and you cannot solve it, you does not understand it, the solution kills you until it ends. Or if it's a pending solution and many variations that I have not explained, because I don't want to get you all dizzy, if there's pending solutions, in an active phase, we get to the solution, and you're solving, and against, we go back. It's a cycle that solution and against active, solution, active. It happens with the rails. As there's another version that I have not explained, but there's no need. The domesticated one. When you domesticate yourself like an animal, domesticated, then it is in an active phase on a permanent basis because you're being domesticated. But there's no need that you understand it in this point in time. But I'm just explaining to you, when there's a solution of the problem, it becomes a biphasic law. The most important thing is to know, when we have a symptom, is to know in what part of the biphasic wave are we, in the active phase or the healing process, or in the PSLA healing part, or if we're already past the epileptoid crisis and we're in the last solution of the conflict, the least aggressive one, and the one that already passing a little more time, I already got out. Then a doctor grabs you and he fucked up your life. Because as you have a malign cancer and the cancer was already doing away with, a person that would bleed when they went to the bathroom, along with the feces, there was pieces of flesh and some weird and blood. What are you going to think? What would you have thought some time ago that you didn't know this information? All this cancer already messed up my intestine and I'm already crapping out my intestine. I have few days to live. If I am already going to the bathroom with blood and then pieces of flesh, it must be that cancer. It's eating me inside. So then I tell doctor, I have a problem. I go to the bathroom with blood and the doctor says, what? Oh, why didn't you come before? Now you're in phase 4 of cancer. What is the 4? The last one, he says. Now we're going to do the most possible thing that we can do. What is that, doctor? We have to cut all that out. Let's see if we can. We're going to cut everything out. You're going to have your anus outside. Just a bag for always. That's what we have to do. Because we cannot cut it out. It's all absolutely taken by the malign tumor. We're going to cut it out. We're going to put you a duct right here, and you have a bag here. That's what happens to all people. You look at me, you'll have a little bag. But not just that. We have to give you radiation and chemotherapy, because if a cell from the intestine travels to the liver, it's metastasis, and we have to avoid that you have metastasis. So then a whole analysis starts. The guy is dying of fear, knowing that they're going to cut him up, knowing that they're going to do all types of analysis on him. And to top it off, the terror begins. If he starts to dread death, which is what always happens, he says, we found cells in the lung. There's a growth there. We're going to do an analysis. We're going to do a biopsy, radiation. We have to have a sample to see it under the microscope. See if you have cancer. And if you have cancer, metastasis is produced. That malign cell that's a murderer from stomach traveled, became something else, got to the lung, says, I want to be a part of the lung. Convince the lung that they start to change. The whole lung starts to change. Look at what power of convincing those cells have. It's incredible. No preacher has what that cell has, and they can escape, I don't know, to the liver, to the kidneys. It could escape to whatever place, and it says metastasis in general. If it gets to the center of the bone, we end up with leukemia, and I don't know how you're still alive. Precisely, this doctor went to the doctor in the last phase. He only needed 30 more days to eliminate that cancer, and he had a new intestine, but he went to the doctor and he went into death. That's what happens. So then what's important to us to know in what part are we of the sickness, if we are, which is called SBS. I just want you to understand, if you are in the active phase or in the healing process, and within the solution of the conflict part, what part are we? Because there's 3 parts. A part, epileptoid crisis, and part B. So then we have to be able to identify everything that we have lived. Very well. The third biological law talks to us about the system ontogenetic system, or the equivalent sicknesses to cancer, or we could define it the ontogenetic system of the SBSs. Hammer discovered this fantastically. He said we have 3 embryonic layers. When we were formed, we were an embryon. There were 3 layers: endoderm, mesoderm, and ectoderm. Based on those 3 layers, all the organs were developed. So then he discovered that every organ corresponds to an embryonic layer. So then every embryonic layer acts in a different way. The endoderm in the active phase grows, and in the healing process it destroys itself. The mesoderm, if it's the old mesoderm, grows, and in the part of healing it destroys itself. The new mesoderm, which is the new brain, in the active phase it ulcerates, or it stops working, or works inefficiently, and in the healing process it regenerates, or it starts to work better. The ectoderm, same thing. So then he noticed that every organ, or every part of the organ, let's suppose like this, every part of the organ corresponds to one of the 3 embryonic layers. So then he, with mathematic precision, just like that, mathematic precision, and he proved this in more than 10,000 cases, proven fact, and all the ones that he didn't tell them because he could not register them. He presented in the University of Tübingen, which is the only case in history of medicine that he did a postdoctoral thesis, which any person with that study in the college, whether they like it or not, they have to accept it. The University of Tübingen rejected it. And why did they? Because they could not authorize. Look, it is pending up until today. The thesis of Hammer is had by the Tübingen University. Hammer went to a judge and said, by law, they have to accept it, or they have to reject it for this and that motive. The University of Tübingen had to come. I didn't tell you that. So then they presented, and other people that represented that university in Hammer said, why don't you accept my thesis? The judge says, why didn't I accept Hammer's thesis? Either you accept it, or you have to demonstrate why he's wrong. And they said, we don't want. The judge says, why don't you do it? They said, we don't want to. Why don't you want to demonstrate it? Just in case Hammer is right, we don't want to. That is registered. It's registered. So then the judge ordered them that they accept Hammer's thesis. The college, up until today, did not follow the order of that judge. And it's pending. What would happen in the College of Tübingen today? They would accept that thesis. You know what would happen? They would change medicine today. If tomorrow Tübingen College would say, here we have the thesis and all of Hammer's studies, and actually they're all proven, and they're signed by a whole bunch of doctors and the proofs, and all the doctor would say, it's not effective, it's 100% effective. Hammer was never wrong in any case. He says, bring me all the cases of cancer, I'll tell you what happened. Bring me a CT scan, I'll tell you what problems they have, what problems they had, and what they're having now. It was 100% effective. In another case, 3 doctors took a whole bunch of lists of patients, and they said, tell us what happens with all this. And he says, this, for this, and that. When they saw the person, they analyzed just looking at the CT scans without knowing who the patient was or anything, nothing. Just the CT scan, this patient has this, and that. What was the effectivity? It's 100%. It is absolutely incredible that up until today, medicine does not give credit to him. He should not have to win one Nobel Prize, but all the Nobel Prizes in medicine, in all types of discoveries. So then, why is medicine not accepted? Because the Tübingen University does not want to accept it. When they accept it, traditional medicine is over. It's over because there will no longer be any reason so as to not apply Hammer's knowledge, which is marvelous. So then what happens? I don't know how many billions of dollars is received by the Cancer Society, in a society that does not do shit. If you go to that place and they say donate for cancer, and they put you the picture of the kids that are bald, says, can you help this cancer? They're all sons of bitches. Totally, because actually they just pocket the money. You think that they're investigating the cells and says, oh, we have advances. That's a lie. But in order to keep up the faith and hope, they say, we almost have the cure of cancer. We almost have it. We're comprehending a lot more than 5 years ago. We've advanced so much this year, and people say, wow, they're going to have the cure for cancer soon. What the fuck are they going to have? They don't even know what the fuck cancer is. How are they going to have the cure for it? It's impossible. But the people that live under an entire hypnosis, they are like, wow, within a little bit, cancer will be defeated. But cancer does not have to be defeated. Cancer is something that we produce in order to help us. How is it going to be defeated? You kill cancer, you kill the person. That's what they do. They have cancer. Let's kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. And what happens with the patient? They die. That's why I tell you, all the incoherence falls, starting with the globe head, Earth. They put the whole world in incoherence. They show you pictures of people jumping on the moon. If you believe what they're giving you, they're feeding you, and you believe it, then you become an incoherent. Because man has never gotten to the moon, and the images are laughable, and you know they're laughable. The whole world knows that they're laughable, but if they would recognize that, they destroy all the powers of the world today, because they're all based on a globe ball world. So then everything works based on the deceit, and the deceit is incoherence. How do you think that the people will be? How's the people? Completely incoherent, and they don't even know why, and they're incoherent. Very well. So then, the third biological law, Hammer, determined that according to the three embryonic layers are all the organs developed from, and tells you what will happen mathematically, what will happen. That is absolutely marvelous. Medicine works with statistics. Statistically, breast cancer comes because they don't have the slightest idea. And if you read in the American Cancer Society, it says breast cancer, they say the risk group are people that do this, and that, and then below. But actually, we don't know, because sometimes they have cancer without that risk group. We really don't know. It is something that comes because they comes. What? So then, why are they giving them billions of dollars? The government destines billions of dollars. You sometimes are tempted to cooperate with those babies that are bald. They have the right to be happy. What else did they give us? Help us to heal. They are the dragon speaking to Eve. Help us to heal him. Poor thing. That baby. All of them. I want you to know something. And remember, I'm a charlatan. All the sick people of leukemia is the process of the phase of curation. I want you to understand. When they dictate leukemia is an healing process. And it'll go through some symptoms that Hammer determined precisely what would happen. That precisely the red globe cells the immature ones would overabound for certain days precisely, and then they would get normalized again. Once you take a test and they say, look at the blood cells, how they're immature, we have to attack those degenerate blood cells because they're not complete. They start to give the poor children chemotherapy, poor kids, and they start to attack the healing process. Every leukemia patient can be healed. They're already almost healed, but they will go through a period that is pretty strong and violent, which, knowing what will happen, they get healing. There are thousands upon thousands of cases that say, I had leukemia, and now they don't have anything. Nothing. For medicine, that's impossible. To get cured from leukemia, it's impossible, because already your spinal medulla, your osseous medulla does not want to produce anymore the blood cells like the people do. So what do you have? Oh, leukemia. Where's that in your bones? So then it's going to reproduce a whole bunch of bad things, and they invented bone marrow transplant. That is the insanity that's huge that somebody could have ever imagined. To kill the whole bone marrow of a person, kill it with rays, and inject from a healed person, thinking that the healthy one will react. That is the most insanity there is, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. All the patients die, they all die. But that is medicine, that is the world we live in. Does it bother me? No, it doesn't. I've learned that it doesn't bother me, because if it did, what would happen? Of course, what would happen if I'm going to fight against this? I'm talking from my home, from my space, and I don't expect anybody to listen to me. I don't want to change the world. When you say, I want to change the world, you're going to die. You cannot change the world. It'll crush you. When you want to fight and show the truth, the world that has a lot more strength and it has a lot more means to crush you with, will crush you. So then when you see yourself crushed, you're going to say, I have failed. And when you say I failed, you'll have very SPSs and you'll die. So then what did you gain? Nothing. I've already learned that. I don't want to change the world, put signs all over the place. I want the truth to be in the light. I could care less. I want the light in me, and I give it to you if you want to listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, I don't have any problem. Do whatever you want. Take what you want. Do what you want. I want to be free. I don't want for you to believe. You want to be free because you want to be free, not because I want to free you, because I'd be the liberator. It does not exist. It does not exist. What does exist is that you are anxious to be free and can't free yourselves. But you have to free yourselves based on your beliefs that you have, that we already talked about, that you have to change them and be able to be free. But as long as you see the world with your beliefs acquired by yourself and inherited from your parents, what did we inherit from our fathers? Nothing but shit. That's what the text says. We've inherited nothing but shit from our fathers without any sense at all. Doesn't it say that? What was the word? Oh, lies, lies. So then, exactly, I changed the word, but it sounds a little stronger. The shit inherited from our fathers. People are like, what? What did he say? But that is not said by a pastor or a priest. I'm not a priest or a pastor, a rabbi, and I'm not a rabbi either. What the fuck am I? I'm a charlatan. And a friend of yours. What do I consider myself as? A friend, just like that. We're just having a chat here. I'm a friend. If I am your teacher, then I don't have the function that I have to comply with. I'm a friend and also learning, just like you, and I learn from you on a permanent basis. I learn from everyone. I learn from you, from everyone. But I want to be an apprentice. What I don't want to be is a hypnotized person by Babylon. So then, what we acquire and what we inherit is nothing but what? Shit. Oh, it's difficult for you to say that word, huh? It's shit, nothing but shit, and more shit. And we have that there. Where is all that shit? Within. I am full of shit, they say in English. Full of shit. Full of shit, yes. When we recognize that we're full of shit, and we place that there and inherit it from our fathers, we can start to take it out. But as long as that shit, we think it's good, because my father and mom told me, my society taught me. So then when university taught me, when I give value to that shit as something good, how can I take it out if it's something good? Once I recognize that I'm full of shit, then I can say, okay, I'm going to start to empty myself and only look for that which is good. You notice? But the first step is to recognize that we're full of shit. Just like that, entirely. Not that we are a piece of shit. Notice the word that I'm using because it's very important, but rather that we're full of shit. Once we take out all the shit, then there's no more shit. I am. Now that I am, how can I fill it with? That is the secret. What do I fill this with? Okay. So then, I'll repeat again. We are not changing the world. We are not here to change the world, but ourselves. We come to change ourselves. That is our mission. If your mission is to change the world, then you are wrong in the wrong mission. You can't even change yourself. So then my mission is to change myself, to learn from everything, take the shit out, and to learn because I'm an apprentice. Very well. So then we're with science. The earth is flat. The earth is flat. There's no need. I think the earth is flat. I teach my friends that it's flat. Those who are not my friends, and those who maybe listen to, maybe comprehend the message. Others that are my friends says, I don't believe that. I think it's a globe. That's fine. Keep the globe in your head. But actually, we don't have the function of making a war against the system, but rather our war is against my ego. I'll explain that, against my ego. Okay, so then we get to the third. We talked about the territorial problems, the male ones and the feminine ones. And only I want to repeat to you just one before deleting this, these 5 zones from the territorial sides that we have the brain. From the male side, right-handed man sees life. So then we have in this first hammer focus, or the area of the brain, we have the bronchial musculature that we have here. We have the bronchial mucus here. We have the coronary arteries here in the big one, which is what happens to all men that lose territory. They die from a heart attack once they get back their territory. Then we have the minor curve of the stomach and the duodenum. Then we have everything that is what? You know what it is? Ulcers of the stomach are here. You have a focus here. And then the last territorial one we have is the pelvis mucus and the right urethra. And of the urethra of the left side. Very well. In the biological sense of what we feel, this focus turns on when we have opposition with nausea against something. Then we have diabetes in this place because precisely we're resisting something in the territory with nausea. Here we have when there has a threat in the territory, they want to take it out, or they want to take it away from me. Then we have asthma or something else. Then we have all the territorial problems of the loss of territory that affect the heart. The right hand, everything is their territory, from their woman, their son, the house, their job, their car. That's the territory. Unless they start to yield territory that we talked about. Here comes in the minor curve of the stomach and the duodenum, the senses of injustice, rancor in the territory. I do not want to submit to my wife. I do not want to submit to my son. I do not want to submit to my boss lady. I don't want to submit to a religious person, a priest, a pastor, a rabbi. I don't want to submit when I want to submit to, but I have to submit because, or else what are they going to say? What are they going to say? So then I have something here. And then I'll explain why we have these things. And then the last one is I have to mark the territory. I cannot mark the territory, and it affects me precisely all types of urinary infections because I haven't marked my territory. How do you do that? How do the animals do it? With urine. How do we do it? Also with urine. It's just that we have that program, and since we are not urinating the territory all over the place, and when we see that our mother-in-law comes and invades our house, we take out our member and we start to piss next to the mother-in-law like a dog would do. We don't do that. How are we going to do that? We don't do that. So then what does the program say? An infection day. And they're like, oh, I have an infection in my bladder. This is tremendous. And they say, and they tell the wife or the lover, you gave it to me. She cannot pass it over. You go to the urologist and says, where have you been? With that infection, where did you put your dick in? That's what the urologist says. Where did you stick it in? Says, no, nothing happened. Says, then you're not being hygienic. Do you wash yourselves when you go pee? Says, where the fuck did this come from? Well, Hammer said, and exactly, you can prove it yourselves. You yourselves can prove this. When you had your last infection in the kidneys, or infection basically in the bladder, cystitis, just look a little bit back. What happened there? Notice who invaded my territory, and you clearly see it that way. You're clearly, oh, of course, because my boss came and invaded what I was doing. And he says how I had to do it, and that already is enough for you to have that symptom. If you lived it that way, is what I'm saying, if you live it that way. My wife said, and got into my garage and put all my tools in order, because in his sight, they see it out of order. For me, they're perfectly well like that. But then she fixed it. I don't find anything. And the wife says, oh, I fixed them all. Do you like it? No. And says, to not offended? Yeah, thank you, dear. Thank you. So he didn't take his emotion out. He says, thank you, dear. You should not have bothered. I should not have bothered. So then he didn't get that emotion out. And what happens? Get a terrible infection. Then I'm just pissing a little bit, just by little. Why? Because the body causes that special program. Because he's saying, I'm not going to let all the urine at once, just by little, so you can mark all the garage, little here, little there, little here, little there, all over the place. That is what the brain does. It's a program that we have. That's why I tell you that what Hammer discovered is something fantastic, very well. So then this part of the brain, with what I've said, affects a right-handed man and a left-handed woman. A left-handed woman lives the problems like this. Now, a right-handed woman thinks with the left side of the brain, and a left-handed man also. So here we have another relay. For example, the first one that also is, which is the laryngeal musculature. When the woman has an unexpected scare or anger with the husband or whatever, or the friend or whatever, and says, I want to disappear. When you think, I want to disappear from this situation, precisely it is the sin that attacks you here. And you have pain in your throat. Oh, my neighbor came and coughed on me and I got the infection from her. It's impossible that you get any infection unless you believe that you can get it, and it affects you here. Immediately, it affects you here because, of course, we've been programmed, hypnotized to say, if somebody's coughing, you're going to get it because the viruses are flying. Shh, they fly. And if somebody sneezes and you say, oh, it's full of viruses, so they're all fucked. So then, of course, a child gets sick. They all get sick in the school, and they all have mucus, and they say, oh, virus attacked the whole school or that class. Nobody stops to think that the stress that the child suffered was because the teacher one day went crazy and yelled at them, you're all idiots. And the kids were like, oh, they all got the same thing. They all got the cold because of what they lived in school. It's something that's absolutely marvelous. So then when the woman says, I wish I disappeared from this situation due to a scare or whatever, or something unexpected, she gets an infection in the laryngeum. Anything that is here, cough, 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 and they say, oh, I got a virus, or it wasn't that, what you felt. What the second relay, which is the mucus, the laryngeal mucus, is lived in a different way. Or something unexpected, or an unexpected situation with dread. And they say, I feel like suspended in the air. I don't know where to walk on. I feel out of place. And generally, these two hammer focuses combine for a good throat infection completely. Then you have the third one that are the corner veins, not the artery ones, because those are, the veins are feminine unless you're left-handed, unless it's left-handed men. Okay, so then precisely here is what we have everything, but not just from this side. Look at this. On this side, not just the coronary veins, but also the vaginal mucus of the cervix and the seminal vesicles. This is out of sexual frustration. I've told you, it's a world in itself. In the feminine sense of not being taken, not being penetrated, or not being felt whole, covered, tended to by the man. So then when the woman feels, I wish I was penetrated and this idiot is no good, he can't get it up, or if he does get it up, he loses his erection quickly, or else doesn't give me what I want, it's not enough. If she lives it that way, there is a focus here on the feminine side. On the feminine side. So then it attacks, and she starts to have problems precisely in the cervix due to sexual frustration. And it attacks in this focus here. Now, if the woman is left-handed, she does not suffer from this. If she lives the same conflicts, she suffers them in the coronary arteries. For example, a left-handed woman. Now, in the feminine side, on this side of the brain, the rectal mucus precisely starts to have all kinds of, we could call it colitis. You eat something, you got diarrhea, you get a whole bunch of symptoms. Why? Because I lose my place in the territory. I don't know what is my role in the group, nor in the place of my house. I don't know what my role is. So then it says, I don't know why I have colitis. And I eat something, and I'm always with diarrhea because doesn't know why is his role in his house, because his husband or takes all the roles, or the son takes all the roles. So then they feel that they lost a place, doesn't know where to identify himself. It takes from that zone. So then if you see precisely, and you study every case from women that have colitis and all the rest, you'll see that they don't have an identity that is very clear. And we don't just mark the territory with urine, we also mark it with feces. So then it's a way of looking for identity. It is lived in that way. And then the last one, the one from here, the one from below, it's the pelvic renal mucus in the right ureter and of the urethra in the male side, also feminine, and in the bladder, and it's the feminine side of not being able to recognize the limits of one's own territory, when precisely it happens to the women that they have the husband, they bring friends, and she can't stand them, brings friends, is my friend, or my brother, or religious, and I have to help them. And the woman says, what? Yeah, I have to help them. So then you're going to have to just take it, and the presence bothers her, says they're invading my territory, and she goes and she gets cystitis, infections, and all the rest. Very well, if you are a woman and you have cystitis, immediately go and look for the conflict, and you'll find it. You will find it clearly, because cystitis does not come due to something you ate, but rather due to something that you felt. Very well, we've studied that. The fourth law, I'll erase everything here. I know it's fascinating to hear this once again. Many times it's rather fascinating because we come from everything that the system of the medicine taught us. So then it's fascinating to hear to this, because we always hear the virus is the bacteria, we get attacked, and careful, protect yourself, and all the rest of the garbage they fed to us. Of course, it's fascinating to study what the truth is, which you can prove for yourself. You can prove this in your life. You suffer a symptom. Look for this fantastic guide of the new traumatic medicine, and you'll find it. You'll find it. You have neck problems. You have to do all the problems. It's because you're being submitted to something you don't want to be submitted to. And if your neck hurts, and the whole time you're like, oh, it's because there's some incoherence that you have to submit yourself, and you don't want to. So then your neck starts to hurt here. Oh, and your whole day is like this. I can't turn around. It was like this, and oh, wind. Oh, I got wind. No wind. You have to lower your head with your husband, your boss, or your mom, or whatever, and you don't want to lower your head, but you lower it. Due to not imposing yourself, saying, I'm not going to lower it. If you say, I will not lower it, it doesn't hurt. But since you say, that's my mom, or my husband, or my brother from church, or I don't know, the pastor, or whatever, I'm going to lower it, because otherwise I lose the status, and so then I do not accept it, but I'll lower it. That's where you have that neck pain. You have it immediately because you lose value, something that comes in the neck. You lose value and you have neck pain. You don't have to have neck pain. When you see something that you feel that something is imposing upon your will, say, no, I do not accept that. I don't accept it. I won't take it. If you say, I won't take it, you won't have neck pain because you have this pain. It's because you have to do things against your will. And that other things can hurt, but I can tell you for every bone that hurts what the conflict is, because it is so, precisely, it is so. Oh, I have neck pain, this and that, it's normal. Because all the time, oh, I have neck pain, yes, of course, because I feel submitted. I read, it takes me to just read some news that says, and now the government is going to obligatory for the vaccine of the children or the adults. Of course, it gives me anger. I cannot avoid it. It gives me anger. Worst thing is that I have to submit to that. And what happens? Everything will hurt. Everything will hurt. There's no solution. I don't have any solution. I commit an infraction in transit, and a cop stops me. And he says, I'm going to do this because you ran the light. No, I didn't run the light. You did. You have a ticket. You say, I didn't run any light. You did. Shut up. So then I accept that I sign that it's not my guilt, but I just signed that he gave me the ticket, and then later, I have a little bit of neck pain because I have to submit to the authorities. So then don't see it as wrong, see it as symptoms of what I'm submitting to. What am I submitting to and that I don't want to? I don't want to submit myself to. I don't want to submit myself to the government, but I have to do so immediately, yes or no? Yes or no, you have to do so. Very well. Problem between husband and wife, that's another subject. It's another subject that everyone has to solve on their own. Very well. The fourth biological law says as follows, that in order for the medicine and biology, the microbes comply with a beneficial role for us. And according to the 3 embryonic layers, there are different types of microbes. This revolutionized medicine entirely, because for medicine, the origin of the sicknesses are the viruses and bacteria. Viruses and bacteria. Cancer, they even think it's a virus. Medicine never saw a virus. I could even say it even stronger. The medicine never saw a fucking virus. Why? Because they never seen it. They don't exist. They do not exist. They can draw it. Look it up. Look it up right now. Images of virus. You'll see these drawings, spectacular ones. This is the virus of this version, whatever. So then they show you. They say next year you have another trend. It says, no, it mutates. You need a new vaccine. And so they need a new vaccine. Come and get your vaccine. You have probabilities of not getting sick. And the people, like hypnotized sheep, they say, please, doctor, give me the vaccine. And if our parents are sheep hypnotized, they said, take their children. Oh, yeah, take the flu shot. They won't get the flu shot to the whole family. And every year it's different. It mutates. You have to change it. Look at real pictures of viruses. They do not exist. No one has ever seen a virus. What they see is the change in the tissue. They see a tissue that's healthy. They see a tissue, they no longer see it as healthy. With certain alterations, they say there is the action of the viruses. Say they're working here. Where are they? Where are the viruses working? Medicine has never seen a viruses up until today with a most powerful microscope. They've never ever seen one. So then Hammer said, I don't know whether they exist or not. He thought they didn't exist, but just in case, let's leave it in the game. If they exist, they help us to heal because they change the tissue. He personally thought that the tissue would change because the body was healing and was changing in shape. What you saw as an action of the viruses was the action of the body because the virus does not exist. What does exist is bacteria, microbacteria, and a whole bunch of other things. They do exist. So then, Hammer said, in Germanic medicine, viruses, bacteria, microbacteria, and fungi, they all work in our favor. They help us to better our bodies. So then when we have an infection, what we have is a healing process. Now, since we have a lot of vaccines since we were young, a lot of them, and a lot of antibiotics that we take, sometimes we don't have the most adequate microbacteria, and we use all types of bacteria, and the other types, a second choice, because the body says, I don't have this one, I'll use this one, see what happens. The body decides that. It's not an optimal work, that sometimes it would seem that they actually hurt us. I'll leave a great gray margin here, like I told you last time. They did not allow Hammer to continue investigating with all the tools that he needed. In this point in time, we should know every type of bacteria, microbacteria, virus that exists, and if they exist, and the fungi, in order to know in what time it's adequate to have them and in what time we should eliminate them. Do you understand this? To eliminate them. Very well. There is a great mystery here. Where there is no great mystery. You can see it. They get sick with throat infection, and you can see yourselves. The doctor sees you. You have some red things on there, and white ones also. There's infection. Say that there's the viruses. Okay, if they are there, along with bacteria, what prohibits them to not take over the whole territory? Because if there's billions of them, why don't they jump from there somewhere else to the stomach? Everywhere that's healthy. Why don't they do that? Why? Because they're in the place where we ulcerated the tissue when we get sick. Every infection of the throat, every incorrectly named as a throat infection, that our throat hurts, that we cough, we lose our voice, and it's all red. Every infection of the throat begins with a DHS. Once we have the DHS from an argument in different areas, and whatever color we give it, we ulcerate the tissue of the throat. Well, I deleted it already. Well, with this relay or the second relay or the combination of these two with these two. So then, since we have that argument, we have the relay here, and the relay immediately in this area, it ulcerated. We don't see it, we don't feel pain, but we ulcerate it. When we get to the solution of the argument, the conflict, body says, okay, I have to repair. There is when we notice that we're sick. In that precise moment, when we feel the first pain, because this is handled by the ectoderm, and the ectoderm in active phase, that's what ulcerates, then that tissue that's ulcerated, in that precise moment that we feel the first pain, what do we know? That we're in healing process, and we have to congratulate ourselves. That is the worst time to say, oh, I got sick. No. You didn't get sick. You're curing yourself. When did you cure yourself? When you received the DHS and you ulcerated what you did. When you feel the first pain, you're already in curation, and what you have to do is actually congratulate yourself rejoice that you solved the conflict. Just like you solved the conflict, says, oh, here comes all the resolution of the conflict. It's not enjoyable or pleasant. You have pain, your throat hurts, but you're not sick there. You're in the part of healing phase. First you have the, whatchamacallit, the clear mucus, then green mucus, yellow mucus, because you're losing all the infection. Who takes that infection out? Who helps us with that infection? Who does? The microbes and bacteria. Microbes and bacteria. So then the doctor comes and says, look, you're full of bacteria. What are they doing there? They are curing, cleaning. That's why they see the lesions and the bacteria. The bacteria never attack a healthy tissue. They attack the tissue in necrosis. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then when we feel the first symptom of the sickness is that we're what? In the healing phase. That is the last place that we should not take antibiotics. But what does the doctor give you? Immediately antibiotics. He says, oh, you're full of bacteria. I have to eliminate them. So then they make us take antibiotics to eliminate. But it leaves in 7 days either way, unless you fall back. If in your healing phase lasts more than 7 days, because you fell again. In the conflict itself, an argument that you had with your husband or whatever, or the neighbor, that you felt it here, then you start the healing. But as long as you're healing yourself, once again you have the same situation, what will happen? You ulcerate again. So then the curation is no longer 7 days, but 15 days, and sometimes a month. I don't get rid of this cough. Why not? Because I am reliving it during that stage. Do you understand? So then I have to look for what produced this situation. Do you understand this clearly or not? Very well. So then, why? But medicine is so laughable that they say that flus are produced by viruses. Do you understand? If you don't believe me, look it up. All types of flus or infections are produced by viruses. And when you have a flu, what do they give you? Antibiotics. The antibiotics, they know that they don't have anything against viruses. There's no antivirus. The antibiotics kills what? Bacteria and microbacteria. That's what the antibiotic kills. But they say the viruses cannot be killed by the antibiotics. The antibiotics only attack bacteria, microbacteria, and fungi, but under no circumstances that it touches viruses, they laugh at it. But they say flu is due to viruses, and they give you what? Antibiotics. So then there's more fucked because your own microorganisms that we have, and we live for them, we live due to them, because digestion, they don't do that. A whole bunch of things in many substances is done by them. So then what do? We attack them. They're to blame. How are they to blame? They're to blame. They're there. They're repairing. Like Hammer said, I already told you this, but I'll repeat this again, because if an alien comes and sees every fire, there's a group of people dressed in red throwing water, and then go to another fire, sees another group of people in red throwing water, and the alien says, what are they doing? Oh, they produced the fire. Let's attack the firemen. So then under official medicine, let's kill all the firemen. When we see firemen, we've got to kill them, because the firemen produce fire. Because they're seeing it, and so they say, oh, there's an infection here, it's full of bacteria. That infection came due to bacteria. That ulceration came to bacteria. No. Due to the ulceration, did the bacteria come? That's why if I attack the bacteria, what am I attacking? I'm attacking the firemen. The firemen. Something is to say a place where there is a lot of cops is because they're conducting crime. If I see a lot of cops, is they're producing crime. Let's kill the cops to do away with the crimes. That is what they say, those who want to kill the antibiotics. The thing is that the cops and the firemen are the bacteria and fungi, they come to help, and we end up killing them. Now, you can say, no, because he has pneumonia and he's dying, we got to give him antibiotics. Sometimes you do have to give him antibiotics. Why? Because the conflictive mass of the individual is so great that when the resolution of the conflict comes, the damage is so great and they all come together to work, but it is way too much work and it could put at risk certain functions, for example, to breathe. So then there are cases, and I agree, and Hammer was in agreement, there are cases that controllingly they can give antibiotics to. Now, if you don't know, there are different types of antibiotics. There are antibiotics that kill the virus or the bacteria. There are antibiotics that kill the bacteria and others that do not kill the bacteria but leave them kind of stunned in order for your supposed immune system. Those are the best antibiotics in our case. Now, there's a lot of information. The only thing I say is that what we would know if medicine that's official would have adopted the method and the wisdom of Hammer, there would be a good treatment that's spectacular instead of a treatment. There would be a true treatment to know when to apply antibiotics and when I shouldn't. If I cut myself here and then I suture it up, then I'll have a terrible infection. So then, can I apply antibiotics? Yes, because here once I break my defense, which is the skin that I've explained to, the epidermis, once I break it, there's a whole types of microorganisms that my body would not allow them to enter ever, but once I break it, they enter as if it were an injection, same thing, like an injection. So then, in that case of cuts, in that case of accidents, they are absolutely necessary. Are you comprehending? So then the antibiotics are good? Yes. Like surgery? Yes. But in what cases? You have to see every case, because the last thing I want is for you to take this message wrong, like you are accustomed to. As if to say, Christian said never use antibiotics. No, you have to know when to use them. If there's an ulceration or a cut, or they're working way too much in the antibiotics, we can help them to eliminate some. Do you understand? Very well. I want to leave that very clear, absolutely clear. Okay. So then we've got the story of Pasteur. Pasteur, which means pastor or shepherd. It was copying from Bashan, and Bashan said, hold on, the sickness comes, and the, the bacteria and mycobacteria come due to the sickness there. Pasteur stole the study, said, no, the sickness comes due to the viruses and bacteria. There was no viruses back then, so then it's just bacteria. And the other guy said, no, it's other motives, but they come when there is a sickness which is different. So then, that is what takes place. And I've already talked about when we travel, we need to what? Adapt ourselves very well. Very well. That is what I wanted to tell you about the fourth law. But there's something else we have seen because, and I won't explain this way too much, but there are very clear guides of this. You see that there's been plagues, black plague, all types of plagues, and they said the rats started it, and there was a black blah, blah, blah. It turns out that all of humanity, especially in a society, it could be Europe or a country, the political changes as well as religious ones affect the whole population, because precisely if a type of student, they could have a collective DHS due to the professor or a situation or a shrill scream or whatever. You have that DHS, or you have to surpass a level and they don't feel able of passing a grade. They could have a DHS, maybe collective. We're talking about collective DHSs in all of Europe or a society. That could come. I won't explain it in any moment. So then, if there's a threat that there's viruses killed, you have the Black Plague. We have to study why the Black Plague hit. Why? There was a change. There was a change in society, change of values, and the DHS became the healing, and they have the healing of the whole world. And the psychosis, that's collective, which is what happened. It happened to that guy, it also to you, and then my dad, and also to me. So then it's all a game like this, I tell you, so that you give or take, understand. Very well. That happened in every step. So now we are in the time or technological one, and you see sicknesses that you have never seen before, never ever. And with a frequency that is scary. What is the problem? I'm about to tell you what the problem is. Or at least I'll cooperate with some of the problems, right? I'll cooperate with some of the problems. Why did people live without cancer before? They didn't even worry about it, and everybody has cancer. And if they see the statistics, it's only 50 years ago, it's 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. 30 years ago, 1 in every 100. 20 years ago, 1 in every 20. Now they say 1 of every 3. 3 years from now, they say everybody has cancer. Let's see when it manifests. And that is the true reality, because cancer is part of our cells. We all have cancer. But it's not that it'll manifest because it wanted to. It'll manifest itself when we activate a program. Very well. The fifth essence. And I'll speak more about the programs in a worldwide manner, maybe next week. The fifth essence, the fifth biological law, Hammer titled it as the fifth essence. Basically, it says as follows. Every sickness or special program is a special, significant biological program. In other words, so that you can read this well, I have to read it as sickness. Every sickness or symptom, which I could add, is a part of a significant biological program created in order to assist an organism, whether it be human or animal, to solve a conflict that's biological. So then, when does the sickness appear? The fearful, dreaded sickness, when we need help. As simple as that. Once we need help. In order for you to understand it, I know you understand it, but in order to reinforce those who understand, if I were to grab a lemon now, everybody knows this, I cut the lemon, and I were to squeeze it in my hand, and it's getting all over the place, and that lime juice, I drink it, I immediately started to salivate. Why? Because you activate immediately only by thinking about the lime juice that I'll drink. I start to salivate. For what reason? But hold on, there's nothing here. What happened to my brain? What happened to my brain? Or yours? There's a lemon here? But what's happening with the brain? Why did you start to salivate if I don't even have a lemon? Because our subconscious does not know if it's real or imaginated. They don't know it. Our subconscious, everything that is imagined, it's all real. They don't know how to differentiate. So then when I imagine that I eat, I don't know, something that I love, my whole body is prepared because they think I have a plate here ready to eat, and I'm salivating still because I imagine something very delicious. So then, what function is there for that a lemon that's so acid? You start to salivate because it's so acid that you need precisely to be digested from the mouth so that the lemon does not burn my mouth. Then precisely what is produced, the saliva and enzymes that get together immediately with the acidity, that's citric acid from the lemon. And just by saying that, I'm still salivating. Then it annuls it, not annuls it, but rather it helps it to be digested. But my brain already started to generate that. Just imagine a guy that you will torture him in one way or another, a torture, and you bind him to a chair, you open his mouth, and you place a drop of lemon for the next 7 days. The guy receives a drop of lemon in the mouth, and they have to drink it. And little by little, you augment the quantity in the mouth. What do you think will happen with the saliva glands? What will happen? They're going to develop cancer. Why? Because what is cancer? It's a cell proliferation to produce more liquid. When the body says, I have to produce a lot of liquid, then I start to augment, and they would have cancer in the glands of the saliva in even less than a month. Less than a month. Why? Because the body says, we have to produce a lot more. This guy is doing this. It's not enough for the regular glands. I have to produce a super gland to produce more quantity because I need them. When I don't need them anymore, and that the body says, and they take the guy from there and they give him water, he doesn't need them. What is body that they solve the conflict. But as long as he is in an active conflict, the guy that is bound there receiving lemon, it's a good example, right? Receiving lemon, the good thing is that he augments and augments because he needs more saliva and more saliva and more saliva. And then you say, okay, you can eat whatever you want, you're free. You solve the problem. He says, oh, finally. Immediately, the cancer stops. Immediately, when you solve the conflict of an endoderm tissue, it stops growing in the very instant that you solve the conflict. And what takes place? What do we do with two terrible saliva glands that grew? It says you don't need so much. What do you want that for? All of the cells that have been multiplying themselves will eliminate them. In the same precise moment that the DHs came, also the body starts to prepare the mycobacteria, and we have them. Starts to multiply them, but does not activate them because these mycobacteria are actually a part of us, the bacteria and mycobacteria. So then they get activated, but they are not allowed to work. They're just training. You're going to get ready. We're still in active conflict. When we have peace and conflictualizes, I'll let them go and they'll destroy that tissue. They are microsurgeons. They will not touch the healthy tissue, but only the one that was multiplied. Precisely. What is cancer? Cancer is a type of marvelous cell. Listen well, because you still have your mind. Oh, cancer is malign. Every cell of cancer is a marvelous cell that the body produced to help you. And you'll have it there as long as it's there to help you. If you do not do away with the conflict, obviously it could kill you because the program has not ended, because the animals do away with the program in less than 15 days. The human is the only animal, per se, the only animal that does not do away with the problem. They start a conflict and they don't end it. They have an enormous conflictive mass. Are you following? I no longer have the conflict of the lemon. It's over. I'll remind it to you. Now it starts again. But it passed. But exactly, if we give an end to the conflict, then that's where the growth that's extra ends. And that's where the body lets go of the mycobacteria and the bacteria that were in reserve, that they multiplied. And then why do we have a fever? Because with fever, the organ or the body, fever a little higher, like 1 grade higher, is because the body is given green light to the bacteria. They say, oh, I had a fever. The infection's there because the body utilized the fever in order to develop and send them, that they were activated, to the place that they have to work. So they have fever because they work more happy with fever 2 and 3 grades higher. When the body wants to eliminate them, they go up to 40 grades. In 40 grades, the body starts to lower them because the bacteria work well with 37.5 Celsius and 39. In that range, give or take, of temperature, the bacteria, and I'm talking about in Celsius. It's in that range that the bacteria, let's say 38. Let's give 38. 38 and a half. 37, 38 and a half. The bacteria are in festivities. They like this temperature. We have to work. There's lots of work. We have to eliminate all this tissue that grew. So then they have fever. People say, oh, poor thing. He has fever. Let's lower his fever. Don't lower his fever. The body up the temperature. And we say, no, you stupid body. We're going to lower your fever. He says, let me work. No. He says, no. Because it's going to kill you. Your fever's going to kill you. No, they say, the child has fever. We have to lower it. So then we put all kinds of medications to lower his fever. We come with the person that had cancer here, the person that had cancer here, so then they have fever. They have the conflictolysis, the resolution of the conflict. The cancer stops completely. That marvelous cell has no more sense to live. So then the body says, okay, girls, go and work. And we up the temperature, and they start to work tremendously. The bacteria. If due to the action of vaccines, we do not have tuberculosis, though so fear tuberculosis. Oh, tuberculosis. TB, not TB. There's so much dread. They're always like, oh, let's say if you have tuberculosis, oh, let's suppose that you don't have it activated because it's like the devil himself, because if it's active, they quarantine you. It says you take the dreadful tuberculosis when we should all have tuberculosis. The body has it. It's the bodies. It is the bodies, but they don't activate it unless tuberculosis has to kill something. But medicine does not comprehend that tuberculosis does not destroy anything that is proper and is alive of the organism. Tuberculosis only will attack the dead tissue, nothing else. But all of the lie in this globalized world said that tuberculosis, it's their fault. When people will die due to the conflictive mass of cancer of the lung, they would have tuberculosis, and they would blame tuberculosis. And so then what would happen? Oh, we have to eliminate the firemen, have to eliminate the cops, and we won't have any more crime or fires. And so then the world pointed their arms to the wrong enemy, the friend. So then if you have tuberculosis now, they want to isolate you so you don't contaminate us with tuberculosis. Okay, what happens if you don't have tuberculosis in your body? Tuberculosis is the best thing that we could have. I know that you maybe say, that can't be. You still listen to me? You give me credit? Okay, another charlatan. Hammer, I already told you this, but I'll tell it to you, because there could be new people listening. I say Hammer would tell the people that had lung cancer, and they would notice that it would encapsulate itself because there's no tuberculosis. Because there's no tuberculosis, the cancer gets to get encapsulated, the benign cancer that has its consequences. It's better for tuberculosis to come and to have, instead of having an obstruction there in the tissue. But Hammer says, go to the places where there's people with tuberculosis, and when you see them cough, go next to them and try to get under them and try to breathe it in. Let's say if you have that virus, since they annulled it with the vaccine, let's see if you can grab it, because the best thing you can have is that. If you don't have that, the body doesn't have any other option than to encapsulate it. So then grabs a bag, and I leave the bag there in the house. So then when I have a lot of garbage, I have my house full of bags because I don't have the broom to take them out. So I leave bags all over the place. If I had tuberculosis, these bugs grab that, they degrade it, and they take it away. And when the curation is ended, the body inhibits the virus or the bacteria tuberculosis, and that's it. It doesn't affect you anymore. But of course, if you attack it, you attack the healthy tissue also, and the tuberculosis gets even worse because you're attacking with brutal products, and you damage healthy tissue with those products, and then they say, okay, we got to continue working because you damaged that other tissue, and then your client dies because it lost its vital energy. Very well. So then, the reason of why the fifth essence is to understand that all sicknesses are not such, but rather are programs that come to help us. Just like the guy that was drinking lemon, was it helping him? It was helping him. When I need more air and I send the emotion, it's helping me. So then, the fifth essence is the sense of why the sickness exists. Okay, I want to know how long have I been speaking in order to go to the other subject. Okay, pay attention, even if it takes me 1 more hour, I could care less. Okay, let's talk. Did you understand what the fifth essence is, right? The fifth essence, I could give a lot more examples. Whatever part that gets sick of the body, the fifth essence teaches me of what that's good for. If I grab a cancer in the stomach, the fifth essence teaches me to say that cancer that you have in the stomach that took place in the greater part of the stomach, which is an endoderm tissue, will grow in an active phase. It's something that you ate, a bone that you cannot digest with gastric juices. So then there is where you have cancer, more powerful mass in order to produce gastric juice that is 20 times more powerful. So then it creates a brutal acid 20 times more powerful so that you can dissolve the bone that you have stuck. Hammer, in order to be sure of what he was saying, he grabbed one of his dogs. He was a doctor. He grabbed one of his dogs, opened him up, and put a little piece of wood in the stomach. And he stitched them up, closed them up to see what would happen. When days later he opened them up to take the wood out, he saw the immediate formation of a stomach cancer, precisely where he placed the piece of wood because it cannot be digested. And he placed it big enough so that he could not eliminate it. So then what did the dog do? Biologically, stomach cancer, because it needs a substance a lot more powerful to digest the wood, entirely degrade it. It should not have been wood, but bone, because carnivores eat bone. They get bone stuck there, so then they quickly have a cancer that grows quickly in order to digest the bone. When the bone is digested and leaves, the cancer leaves also. So then he noticed that he had cancer. He closed them up. Later on, he noticed how the dog would evolve, that it had fever and all the rest. Then later on, these are some secrets of Hammer that are not in his books. Okay, there are things, anecdotes, that those who know tell us. Then again, he opened up the dog and noticed there was no more cancer. There was a scar. That's it, it's over. In order to prove that and how it works for us. So then, we start to get stomachal cancer, but we didn't eat a piece of bone or wood that we cannot eliminate. What is taking place? That our subconscious, here comes the fifth essence. Why did I get stomachal cancer? Why? In order to digest a situation that I cannot digest, that you cannot digest. For my subconscious, a bone like this, or a situation like this, same thing. So then when I eat something, I have to suffer something that I interpreted as this is something that I cannot digest. I cannot digest it. And I cannot avoid it. In a situation, generally at work, is where you have stomachal cancer at work. You're in a situation with your boss, with a presence, with something that you cannot digest. You see, the people, I cannot swallow this person because every morsel that's symbolic is the situations that happen to us. So then we trigger the program. We have a boss that we cannot digest. What do I have to do with a boss like that? Digest him. What do I do to digest him? I produce a liquid that's stronger. So then, but that's not going to stop until when? Tell me when. Until I solve the conflict. Once I solve the conflict because my boss died, or because I left, or because I went to a different department where I worked, solve the conflict. Cancers, what am I here for? It's already solved. I already took out that morsel that we could not digest. They took the wood out from the dog. Do you see? I digested it. There's nothing else than healing. That's the way it is. So then, but we have to get to the healing process. Do you understand? We see everything that's real as translated to morsels of food. My boss is a morsel. What I bring, my job, what I produce, my knowledge or true knowledge is a morsel of food. All situations, and we digest them or not. When someone to me shits on me, where will I get the cancer? I'll get it in the large intestine, because precisely what is shit? It's what's gonna go out, what has to come out. But if somebody is shitting on me and I can't take it out of my organism, it's symbolic shit. But I can't eliminate it. What'll happen? My stomach will produce a cancer to eliminate that. But what's it gonna eliminate? It's symbolical. Do you understand? It cannot eliminate it, but my subconscious that does not distinguish what is real or symbolical, and I continue to say, this guy shit on me. You see that we manage a symbolic language to top it off. What do you mean the guy shit on you? Maybe he stole money from you. Maybe he stole something, but he didn't really poop on your head. But we say, he shit on me. That symbolic language, my body instantly understands it. So then what do I say? I have to take this shit from top of me. But I cannot eliminate it as long as I cannot forgive or solve it. But if I cannot solve it, I can do something else. Forgive. Exactly, but I have to let it go. But as long as I say he shit on me, it cannot come out. And what do? I start to generate a cancer that's brutal. And when it is a what? Shit, tiny. It's not too great, just a little tiny shit. It's the polyps, so then the guy cuts the polyps out, and then another one grows in its place and says, you have polyps. You're precancerous. What? But don't be an idiot, doctor, or whatever. You are having conflicts. Solve them. Once you solve them, you take the shit from off of you. Either solving or forgiving, letting go, then that's it. No more problem. The body says, if your body understood that the shit is out, what takes place? Healing. But the person does not want to forgive when they cannot solve. The last thing they want, and they like it, is like they feel pleasure. That son of a bitch shit on me, my brother, my family, my uncle. I gave him everything. And he stole everything. And you know how they're always angry and they have cancer. This fucking cancer to top it off. Everything is wrong. My wife. And then we start to blame the wife, the uncle, everything. But wait, nothing of what the uncle or the wife did produced the cancer. I produced it. Because that emotion is mine, not his. If he shit on me and say, I could care less, I didn't even want him, it does not produce cancer. But when I say, oh, what anger, I'm always anger, that person will get sick of anything. Not just anything, but specifically what they felt. There comes the Germanic marvelous medicine. That's when one says, I don't know what I have, but I have cancer, I don't know, whatever place, lung. One that knows about this medicine says, I know what you have. Immediately, I know what you have. Don't give me the symptoms, I know what happens. Because if something happens to you, every time they shit on you, you're going to have not the tumor on the arm, not a tumor on your molar or a tumor in the kidney, because they shit on you. Of course not. And the kidney is something else, another color. I perfectly well know what you're feeling. So then according to what you're doing, I see the problem. I know what you felt, period. I know what you felt. That is what's marvelous of everything. Once we know what we feel, that sickness came to heal us. Because if someone shits on you, if you were a perfect person, you would not have caused yourself's problem. You would not have caused the problem for yourself. If you own yourself, because you're a strong person, really, not because you conquered a city, but the Bible says that they who conquer a city is weak. If you conquer yourself, you're strong. If you're strong and they really shit on you, it does not affect you. So then what? why do you have the symptom and the sickness to heal what I have? Because the problem that I have is that I have to learn to forgive and to solve. So then, in every case in life, when there comes a sickness, it comes to teach you where you have to change. When we see the sickness in that way, it is a divine teacher that comes to tell you, you're wrong right here, you're wrong right here, and there's an incoherence. You'll experience the symptom. When you see the symptom, you can see and say, okay, I am wrong. It's not a virus that attacked me, not a bacteria to attack me. I am wrong. I produced what I have. If I change what I have, the symptom has no other option than to leave. Because if I produced it, it shows me where the problem is. I change the problem and the symptom leaves. I stop with the lemon on my mouth and the glands stop growing. It's as simple as that. And as complex as that. Because we want for the doctors, for the pill, cure me, doctor, when we have to cure ourselves. Yeshua said, I make miracles. You see that I make miracles? If you were to believe in me, you would do miracles that are a lot greater. And when we see that we now have the capacity of curing everything, we notice that the words of Yeshua are true. And we never believed them. So then we see a cancer and we start to pray, Lord, Lord, cure this brother, the sister, cure her, please cure her. And we don't stop to think, why is this brother or this sister has cancer? Why don't we help her for her to solve her conflict? Once she solves her conflict, she will get rid of the cancer. So then Elohim said, you that believe in me will do things that are a lot more powerful that I did here on earth. And that is a true word, but we don't believe it. Until we have a power that says, I'll heal the cancer. That's it. It's over. What can I heal? If I cure cancer, a person from lung cancer, I'm not curing their fear. They'll have later another cancer in the lung because that is what the medicine does. Oh, you have cancer. I'll cut it out. And they know that it will grow again. We'll give them chemotherapy. And they end with the life of the patient. Because they don't go to the origin, but rather they go to the symptom. And we always want it to be cures of the symptom. So then we want to receive power. God, give me power, Jesus, to say, I heal you. They say, and I want to walk and I heal you. And it says, I want to cure myself from the cancer here and I heal you. You think that is the way of healing? No, it's not the way of healing. Because we don't heal the soul. We heal the symptom, but we don't heal the person. What we can do from now on, if you are willing, is to heal yourself and to heal those person that want to listen to you, that want to understand it, because we heal the soul. Once you heal the soul, the sicknesses and the symptoms disappear. And the sicknesses are so good because they come to show us where we're wrong. They come to show us exactly what we have hidden inside and we don't notice. And all of a sudden you say, I am such a good person and I have this terrible cancer. The cancer demonstrates to you, you're not so good. You have all full of shit. I'm so perfect. But I have this terrible sickness. And you're not so perfect because the sickness comes to show you that you have nothing but shit inside. So then in order to be perfect, you have to change your way of thinking, of doing things and feeling in order for that symptom to leave. That is what's marvelous of what I am teaching. Marvelous coherence. We have to get to the coherence. Coherence. If we want the inheritance of Elohim, first we have to get to coherence. The inheritance in conjunction, coherence. So there are some steps I want you to record that I explained to you last week so that it would soften up your beliefs a bit that I told you. I do what I don't want to do. That's a way of incoherence. And that which what I do want to do, I don't do it. That's another part of incoherence. Another way is I must do such a thing and I don't do it. That brings me a sickness quickly. And the other one is I should not do this, but I do it. Another incoherence, another sickness. So then I'll explain it to you in a different way so that we start to concrete, because you've already understood that, to concrete how our change shall be. Coherence, I'll put up what I feel. That which I feel. First is what I feel. Second of all is what I think. And last of all is what I do. Very well. So then, I feel, I think, and I do. I'm about to explain everything, but record those words. Coherence. I feel, I think, and I do. An example. All of a sudden, I feel that I have to tell you something. But I think that if I say it, I'm going to get into problems. So then I don't do it. What happens? There's incoherence. There's incoherence. Let's suppose that I have a boss that comes and yells at me and says, you're sick, I don't know, an imbecile, whatever you're living. And so then I feel that I should tell him, don't talk to me that way, because you should not talk to me ever again, or else I'll quit your fucking job. You can shove it up your ass. You piece of shit. I worked so much for you, and then you come and tell me the stupid shit. I should charge you all the extra hours that I've been working for you, you stupid piece of shit. I don't tell him, but I think it. But I lower my head because I think if I were to tell him, I'll lose my job. And how am I going to feed my children? How? I'm going to pay for the car, the house that I have. How? Well, I pay for that I can't, so then what do? I didn't do anything. I think about just telling them off. I feel like I should tell them off, but I don't do anything. So then I say, yes, okay, I'll do this. Okay, I'll do it. Do you understand? That incoherence will get me sick in every aspect. So then I'm married with a guy that the guy comes and he brings me friends to my house. They start to drink alcohol, and I feel nauseous due to that situation. I get so angry, and it gets me nauseous to see them there drinking alcohol in my house. But I don't tell them anything, because what I want to say, and I think what I want to say is, look, if you bring them again, I'll kick your fucking ass out of here, you and your fucking friends, and I don't want to ever see you again. And I'll take the house, I'll fight it to death, the car, and everything you have. I don't want to say that because he could even hit me. And to top it off, I don't want to lose him because I love him. He says, I love him. He has his defects, but I love him. But since he has defects and I love him and my children, I want them to have a father. I don't say anything. And I start to resist with nausea. What do I have? Diabetes. And all of a sudden, I become diabetic. I don't know why the fuck. And the doctor says, your mom was a diabetic, and you're diabetic. It's the most probable thing that it comes from your mom or grandma. The doctor says it's all inherited. And the most probable thing is that it was like that, is that you inherit a program that you'll have to live through the same situation, see if you're able to cure that or not. Because then we come to fix all types of problems from our clan. We inherited shit from our parents, and we have to what? Fix all the shit inherited. But the Bible says only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. Only shit was the inheritance of our fathers. So then they conceived me in shit. They give me a whole bunch of shit, and I find myself now with a whole bunch of things that I have to fight with. I don't know where they're coming from. But what happens to me is the best thing that could happen to me, because that will show me where I have to change in order to be able to heal not just myself, but also my children and my clan. My clan above. When something happens to me, it's something that I'm sure that it happened to somebody in my clan above me. My great-grandma or something of whatever branch. It's a transgenerational tree, and when there is a problem that's unsolved in the clan, they are condemned to repeat them until a hero comes and solves them. If a woman from the clan, she was raped, they'll continue raping all the ones from the clan, the mother, the daughter, all of them, until somebody says, I'll stop this, I'll fix this, and there's no more rape. It's incredible. They inherited the whole problem, all the problem. The first thing that we have to do is to learn is that when there is a symptom, is that we're not in coherence. Sometimes we think that we're in coherence, and we are not. And we are not. So then coherence is what I feel, think, and do. Did you understand this entirely? Very well. So then, if I feel and think and do something different, I'll have a symptom. That symptom of sickness will help me too. Do not get distracted. That symptom will help me to do what? To find the coherence. To find the coherence. Because if I have a stomach cancer, it's saying you have to take something out from your stomach. That's why you have the cancer. It's a blessing. It's not a curse, but a blessing, because it's showing me there's something that you have in the stomach, and you have to get it out. You'll never be able to be a good person, a perfect person, as long as you have that in your stomach. Do you understand? So then we have the symptom in order for me to know where I am wrong. What is my incoherence? When I get into coherence, the symptom disappears. Because the symptom came because I'm in incoherence always. It's not a virus, it's not a bacteria, it is I. It is my own incoherence. So then another thing that you have to record today is that the subconscious that's biological, our biological subconscious that takes all things, my conscious is the rest, my conscious is taking every act of yours. All the things, it takes them. Taking everything that takes place here, all the little sounds, subconsciously records everything, even what the neighbor's doing over there, records everything. What smells are there, what sensations I feel, what I feel when you do some face, my subconscious records it all. 95% of what happens, my subconscious records it. I am only conscious of 5%. So then what I believe, and I pay attention to what percentage is it? 5%. Now 95%, my subconscious is taking note, recording every situation, and has it there. Very well. Well, from that biological subconscious, I want you to understand 4 things. Okay, you've already understood this. Yeah, I'll erase it, coherence. I'll delete it if you already jotted it down or whatever. Okay. Biological subconscious, we're okay? Has a lot of characteristics. I just want to teach 4 today that are fundamental. If we understand those 4, we can fix a lot of things. 4 of which, some will be difficult for you to understand them. I'll try to explain them. It is the time to explain. Biological subconscious of every one of you. This, you'll not learn it in school or wherever you go or in your country, because it's all the contrary. It is timeless. Second characteristic, it is innocent. Third characteristic, it is all real. It's all real. sees everything as real. And the fourth characteristic is others do not exist. Only I exist. Okay, what does this mean for my subconscious? What does it mean? Okay, first of all, it's timeless. Subconscious does not know what happened in the past, what happened in the future, or in the present. For him, everything is what? Present. If my mom abandoned me 40 years ago, my subconscious, she's abandoning me today. And I think that piece of shit mother abandoned me. Bad mother abandoned me. Of course, for you, you cannot say that because your mother is holy, never did anything, had the best mother, and you would never even think it's a piece of shit mother. A piece of shit mother. No. But that is the worst thing that you could say. Honor your father and mother. Okay. In order to explain what I'm about to say, pay attention and that your beliefs not close your feelings, because if you block yourself in, then you continue in the Babylonian sheepfold. In order to be able to understand all of this, I have to comprehend that everything that happened to me is in the present today. The one that shit on me 10 years ago, I have him here. My dad that abandoned me, I have him here. I have it all here in the present. So then, that is the first characteristic of our subconscious. For example, since we're here, I'll teach you something. There's no best way for us beginning the healing is than to live in the present. Once we live in the present, we're in coherence with our subconscious. Because if our subconscious has only one time that it's present, when I live in the present and I enjoy what I do, I feast, I enjoy the moment, then there is coherence there, and it would seem that I'm enjoying it truly, and it's marvelous. When I live in the future, planning what I will do, tomorrow I'll do this, tomorrow I'll do that, tomorrow I think I'll do this, tomorrow when I go and I wake up, I'll do this and that, and I'll do this to my car, and then I'll take it to the mechanic and do everything. I forced my subconscious to be in the future. When I am in a future mode, thinking, I have anxiety. If one of you suffers of anxiety, stop thinking in the future. Don't think about anything in the future. Go bring your mind back to the present. And when I live in anxiety, I will act as an imbecile. I'll tell you the story I've always told you, but it fits because it's a good story. You already know it, but I could care less. It's in case. A person is driving and pow! One of his tires blows up and says, oh, what a piece of shit day, precisely today that I have to get there. I have to do so many things. What am I going to do? He parks and he says, okay, I'm going to change this quickly. I'm in a hurry. He opens everything backwards to look for the jack. There's no jack. Where's the jack? Oh, I let that son of a... Oh, he didn't bring it back. He always shits on me. No, next time I'm not going to let him borrow it because I'm not going to let him borrow it. And when he comes to ask me, when he comes back, I'm going to go directly and ask him for it. What a son of a bitch. He didn't give it back to me. I told him, I'll let you borrow it one day. He didn't give it back to me. Once I see him that I go back, I'm going to go directly. He's his best friend. So then he says, what do I do now? He sees a car, nobody passes by. It's a dead road. He says, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, he looks over there, a little house. Oh, that's my salvation. I'll go to that house because that's the guy. Everything in the future, they're going to give me a jack. I'm sure they have a jack. He goes and he walks over there. Oh, that's so good. I'm going to tell the guy as soon as he comes out, he's going to tell me, and I'll be very kind. I'll be very kind, and I'm going to tell him, Lord, can you help me with a jack to, and he's going to like me. I'm going to fix my hair because he might think that I'm going to rob him. So then he imagines the whole movie. So he walks over there and says, and what happens if he doesn't want to let me borrow it? Well, I'm going to try to convince him because he could come with me. Can you help me? Because what if he thinks that I'm going to steal it and he won't let me borrow it? He says, well, I'm going to try to understand that. And he's in the movie still, in the future, thinking in the future, as long as he's walking. No, the guy's not going to let me borrow it. I think he's not going to let me borrow it. He's not going to let me borrow it. And if he doesn't do it, oh, how angry. How can he be such a son of a bitch? How can he not let me borrow it? Oh, what a son of a bitch. What's in his head? And gets to the door and knocks on the door. So the guy, very kind, says, how can I help you? Says, you know what? Keep that jack and shove it up your ass. I have to tell you the story the way it is. You know that the guy lived anxiously in the future, and when he had to act, what happened? Everything changed in the future. Completely. He says, shove your jack. So then what does this story teach us? Because this story is very useful for us because that's the way we are. We are experts in that. I'm going to talk with my dad. I decided myself to talk with my dad because I am sick and tired that he comes and tells me all this garbage. I'm going to go, then I'm going to tell him what I should tell him. And you prepare yourself and talk to him. I have this whole list here. The next day he goes, Mom, where's Dad? Oh, he left. He had to do something with his business. What? And he says, everything changed. I came to tell him so many things, and I was brave. And now that I come, he's not here. When is he back? Tomorrow. Now he's going to take that whole day to say what he's going to tell the Father. That is the way in which we become anxious. An anxiety that if we take it, it alters our heart. The higher we take it, the more anxious I have this anxiety. I don't know what to do. Stop thinking in the future. Don't think in tomorrow. What Yeshua say? Yeshua says so. Sufficient to the day is the evil thereof. Tomorrow will bring its own problems. But don't think of the problems of tomorrow. Think in how beautiful it is to live here today. Okay, very well. Now what happens if our mind thinks in the past? Because before I was pretty. Before I had a pretty place, and I live in a piece of shit place now, and I was single before, and I lived well, I was happy. I was with a whole bunch of women, you know. I was single, now I married this lady, and it's a piece of shit lady that I cannot even see her. How unhappy am I? I was so, it could happen to a woman. I was so happy, and I married this controlling person that doesn't let me. If I so much as touch the car, where are you going? You have to tell me where you're going. Because gas is expensive. I don't want you to go alone. It controls every step of my life. I can't do anything. If I put a little extra plant to the food, oh, my mom didn't do it like this. You cook like shit. I'm going to teach you how to cook specifically because my mom was a good cook. Do you know people like that? Wow. This is all that flavor that my mom would give it. But you have a shitty way of cooking. Oh, if my mom was alive. When's my mom going to come to the people that live in the past, loving the past, that it was better? They become depressed. When I live in the past, the mind is depressed. When I live in the future, the mind becomes anxious. So then I have to learn to live where? In the present. If my mom was a good cook, that's great. I'm never going to eat them again. That's it. It's over. I don't even remember them. Because or else I'll compare them with what I have now. And before I was young, now I'm a piece of shit old man. Now that I can enjoy a good car, I can't because I'm old. Before that I was young. I wanted a car, a racing car. How angry am I? I wanted money before, not now. And now, you see, those piece of shit old men, they've had a piece of shit car when they get to 50, 60 years old. they start to earn money, and the children leave, and now they buy my Mercedes Benz, my BMW, and so then now, but they say, I wish I had that car when I was 20 years old, not now. So then a crazy fool says, I want the best car, and I'll enjoy the car, but sometimes good things are late. Have you ever heard this? Exactly. And the old man, he's a piece of shit old man that leaves the plastic on the car so that he could not wear it out as if he had a long life to live. Oh, don't let anybody touch his car. And they leave them in the garage without using it because their pleasure is just to have it, not use it. A young man, his pleasure is to use it, and if it's a piece of shit, you let it be a piece of shit. But the old man says, no, this is the gold of my life. This makes me happy. And they live that incoherence brutally. Okay, what am I trying to teach? If I live in the past, I will be depressed, completely depressed. I'm depressed. I'm living something in the past. I thought something was better in the past. And I go back, and when I go my mind to the past, I get depressed. And if I think in the Great Tribulation all the time, oh, the Great Tribulation, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. How much rice do I have? I need more pounds of rice. One thing is to prepare the things and just to leave them there. What else do I need? What else do I need? Okay, today I have to do this. I'm going to do a little more. 2 liters of water more. I have to fix everything because I've got to be prepared for Great Tribulation. You're going to suffer it before the Great Tribulation comes. And you start to suffer it because you feel anxious. You live in anxiety. One thing is to prepare something, and another thing is to live in the moment that the Great Tribulation comes already, which is very different. Let's live the present. Great Tribulation was not here. Can it come? Let it come. It could come tonight, yes, but I'm not going to. Oh, it could come tomorrow, next month, in Hanukkah, or not Hanukkah, maybe in Pesach, or not in Pesach. It comes in Shavuot, non-Shavuot, then the following trumpets, and they said it's over, not trumpets, it'll be in Sukkot, and I'm already planning, no. If it comes, it comes, and we're prepared. If it comes, but I'm not longer thinking about that. I think that I have to live the present today and to heal what I have. My mind cannot be in the Great Tribulation because, or else I'm already living it. Because I am thinking that, oh, when it comes, zombies come to my house, maybe then zombies never come to your house. Oh, that the neighbor comes to eat you, maybe the neighbor never comes to do that. So then my mind is always with stress that's so great in my mind, that what I am doing is to live a Great Tribulation now. Do you understand? Very well. That's what I have to learn. Live in the present. We know that the prophecies of Yahweh are going to be fulfilled, but I know them, I believe them, and I'm not in fear, nor do I live in the future. Where do I have to live? In the present. I also do not live in the past because it brings me depression. And if I live in the future, it brings me anxiety. Very well. Have you been anxious due to something? You've seen that when a person is about to get married, anxiety goes up to a terrible level. Why? Because they're thinking that what are they going to do? They're going to get married, and there's anxiety. But not just due to marriage, but also the anxiety of, oh, the neighbor. Next time, I'm going to kick her in the ass, that piece of shit neighbor. Oh, not put music. I know, tomorrow he's going to have it, and then there's a party. Oh, how angry. They have a party. You have to hear music. Where am I living in? In the future. I'm already anxious. The anxiety came in due to creating that image. When I create that image, you know that my brain that does not understand past, present, or future, what takes place is that it's living like it already happened. If I imagine that I am sitting here or in my house and that thieves are going to come in. What if thieves come in and they enter? My brain thinks they're entering already. And my pulse, my cardiac starts to go up and nobody entered. And the people imagine horrors. Where's my husband? He's with that bitch. I'm sure he's with that bitch. What a son of a bitch. He should have called me and didn't. What does that mean? he's with her. And now when he comes, I'm sure I'm gonna smell the perfume in him. I know that he comes. I'm gonna look at him straight in the eyes. I know that I'm gonna detect something. I know that he's gonna detect something. And of course he's gonna detect something because of the way she's looking at him. And the husband is like, what's going on? You see, you're a son of a bitch. That takes place the whole time. The entire time it always happens. Because the wife is imagining a soap opera. The husband also does that. Where is my wife right now? I called her, didn't answer. I called her, she didn't answer. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to call a friend. Can you please go by my house and check? See if the car is there. Just to see. You know how many cases is like that? Go and look. And if the guy gets too crazy, how could I put a tracker to her phone to see where she's at? Of course, I have to control her because I think she's with some guy. And I'm going to control her. How's my mind altered if I start to think that way? I already see the lover of my wife. Everything I suffer terribly because instead of just kicking back, if she wants to be with some guy, that's fine. Someday I'll find out, and if we're in incoherence, I'll find out. But if I'm always anxious what she's doing, like those employees, what is my employee doing? I'm going to put a camera. I remember my father-in-law who had a great company. He said, I always shit on these employees, he would say. Because I leave from my house, I say, I'm out of here. And I have cameras all over the place, and I look at them. Even in their cars, he had a map where the cars were. He had a whole group of AAA cars, and he showed me, look at this one. He stopped. This son of a bitch has stopped. He's not doing anything. What is he doing there? What is he doing there? Oh, you watch. Because he stopped. There's nothing there to be stopped. He's just wasting time. He's wasting time. And it's all control, control, control. What'll happen with him? You're going to die young. You'll die young. And you die young. You die young because you don't want to control. All that anxiety comes to you, and then you have fear. And that they fear that people shit you. That is anxiety. Fear that my wife... If I have fear that my wife cheat on me, then that's where anxiety comes. If I fear that my employee is stealing hours, a whole bunch of anxiety starts all over the place because I have fear. Because that fear will affect me where? Where? In the lungs. Sooner or later, since I cannot control that, because every time it augments in the control. Why do you think? Who do you think that the government fears? Why do they control us so much? Because there's more information every time. The more information, they have more control. There has to be control, and they say, we have 2 hours, and it was the Arabs, and thanks to that, precisely in 1911, this is a new beginning. We'll begin the beginning of the absolute control. So then they have laws that says, now, we have the right to investigate you. Even if we don't have a judge, we can hear all your phone calls. Why? Because they're fearful. Why does the government fear? Why? Because information is coming to light, and the more information comes into light, more control, because they are fearful. Your big brother wants to control you so that you do not escape or don't wake other people up, or precisely make them see that the world is not the way they say. In every aspect, you understand? So then, it's all out of fear. They first do all these kinds of attacks, and they justify themselves with that, and they say, we want to control them more. But when it's a government that controls you, we are founding fathers, even though they were Masons, said the following: never the government. The people should never fear their government. The government should fear the people. Now, we fear the government because the government controls everything, and they're always looking at you. Very well. So then, the subconscious mind, we've said that it's timeless. We're in the first point. Timeless. It's better that our subconscious is also present. Okay? Second point. It's innocent. For my subconscious mind, nothing is right, nothing is wrong, nothing is better, or nothing is worse. My subconscious care less about anything. Subconscious. God does not exist. Others do not exist. Who exists? Well, that would be the other point. But I want you to know that for my subconscious mind, not my beliefs, mind you. Because my beliefs, I could be with the 10 commandments of Yahweh, the commandments of Yahweh, or I could say the Catholic ones. So then, or I could be the Allah commandments, or I could adopt those of evolution, or I could adopt my own commandments. Do you understand? What I want, I can adopt based, that'll be my beliefs. But my beliefs are not the subconscious. The subconscious mind, they could care less about anything. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing right. There's nothing better, nothing worse. That's the way it is. There's no judgment. There is no judgment whatsoever. No judgment. It's not saying that ugly person is white, black, Indian, white, European. It's not saying that. Subconscious mind does it. Or subconscious, it says everything's the same. It's all the same. Very well. Third point. It's all real. Whether it may be a piece of wood or bone in my stomach, or it may be a situation that I cannot digest. For my subconscious mind, it is real. Real. No matter if I talk to you about a lemon, you're all salivating because you see it as real. In every situation, you see the lemon is real. If you are walking like a great, great, great master, look it up, some audios, and Fermin Moriano, you're walking and a dog bit you and you are terrified of dogs. There's a dog loose and you're terrified. We agree, right? Okay. So then he's walking like that and you feel the bark of a dog behind you that is behind you. How do you think that your subconscious mind acts? You are paralyzed. You're left or willing to go out running. You cannot attack. You cannot attack the dog. You can avoid him or act like a dead person. That's a resource of ours, of the animals. You say, oh, I don't know what happened. I was frozen. That's a resource. Nobody attacks a dead person. And the other resource is to run. So then you hear a dog that you're terrified and you're running now, or you were frozen. Now, when you look back, it was not a dog, it was a child. I was going, whoa, whoa, whoa. For your subconscious, oh, a dog came behind me. For my subconscious, it was real that it was a dog. Oh, you started to think, hold on, is it a dog or a child? No, it is real. For my subconscious, he's going to emit an instant reaction of something that he considers as real, no matter if it was symbolical. He says, oh, careful, dog, what dog? That's it. So you're already in the terror mode. You understand? It was a joke. No, it was just a prank. Don't get scared. It was a biological reaction. You never saw a dog. But your body reacted as if the dog was real. So then every situation that we have in our subconscious sees that real. If I cannot digest my boss, I cannot digest him. My subconscious says you cannot digest it. What are we going to do? We're going to help him. If some guy that is tired of helping and giving his hand out and is tired that they always take advantage of him, they use him like if he is the one that causes the problems, and maybe the guy feels that he helps and he's already treated bad because of his help. Maybe his right hand, it can start to get sick. So then he starts to attack me here. What for? My subconscious says, do not give anymore. Because every time you give, you feel bad. So then I'm going to get your arthritis there because it has nothing to do. But for my subconscious, I was giving something real, and now it doesn't let me give it because my hand doesn't work anymore. my hand cannot mobilize. When I have to take a step, I'm working somewhere, and they offer me a job somewhere, and I feel that I should take it, but I do not dare do it. I don't dare because I think, I feel, and I do. I feel that I should go to that job, but I don't dare to take the step. I feel that this is the girl for me, but I don't take the step. And I'm there suffering because I feel that I should take the step. I think it's not convenient because all women are bitches. If they're all bitches, they're going to shit on me. They're going to make my life impossible. It happened to my mom, my grandma, my dad, my grandpa, my friends. They're all bitches. I can't, or I have to make them sign a premarital contract in order for me to have the freedom, because or else she's going to take over my life in order to let me go play, to do this, do that, to give me free time, for her not to suffocate me, to let me do things that I want and not the things. Since I don't want to take that step and I give it and I don't do it because of the job or in relation or whatever, all of a sudden the body says, you cannot take the step, don't you worry. I'll let you not move, and you have a terrible sciatic nerve. It immediately contracts. It contracts from the spine. It pinches a nerve, and you got a pain that you cannot move anymore. To solve the problem, you don't take the step because you can't even take the step. But when one understands what happened and says, no, I want to give the step, I understand. It immobilized me due to my stupidity, of my incoherence, that of thinking, of feeling, but thinking that I shouldn't do it and I don't do it. When I solve the incoherence, the sciatic pain leaves. It leaves. It absolutely leaves because I solved the problem. Why do I have it? Because I live with a what for. I'm always asking, what is the symptom? Why did this come? Why did I get this? So then everything that we see, everything that our subconscious mind is, so how? Real. Even when I start to think in stupid things, it sees this as real. Careful what you're thinking. Because if I think that I'd like to have sex with the neighbor, then I start to enjoy it. My subconscious sees that as real. Careful with what you take to your thoughts. Do true thoughts and not false thoughts. Control what you think, because what you think consciously, subconsciously sees this as real. Sees this as real. That's why there's so many solutions that I'll teach you, but I know that there's no time today, because I'm going to teach you of how to eliminate situations in the past. In order for my subconscious to see that as real, it'll be symbolical. Now, since I know that my subconscious understands what symbolical is real, I can already, gives me a tool to cure the subconscious, and for it not to be real, but that my subconscious sees this as real. Do you understand? Because for my subconscious, the same thing. If I go and hit my neighbor, or just imagine that I'm breaking it, subconscious saw both of them as real. Either I go and break his face and says, don't bother me again. Or if my subconscious, I say, close my eyes and I imagine, I'm going to go to the neighbor, hi, how are you doing? And I hit him in the face. Says, don't bother me again. My subconscious mind, it was real. So real. So then what if I see soap operas and I cry? I could have the actor sitting next to me. But if that actor dies in the soap opera, how am I going to cry? How am I going to cry? But what happens with those emotions that make me cry so much? Do they make me sick? Wow. And the soap operas that make me cry and laugh, that make me angry. Why the soap operas are so polarized? The stereotype, one is very good, and then one son of a bitch, such an evil bitch, that makes you want to take her from the TV and kill her, because there's so many things that are in your life you saw as real that they happened, but she's such a wicked, curse it when you see, and they see her eye, you're going to see what I'm going to do. The other one's such a good, innocent one, and you see the soap opera, and you get on the side of the good one and says, what a wicked, I would kill her. They're playing with our mind or not. You know that you can get a cancer just by watching soap operas. You can have a whole bunch of flus, colds, throat pains, loss of value just by watching soap operas. Or you can get inflammations of the bladder, all kinds, just by watching the soap operas and for allowing your emotions to be controlled. Because when I place my mind in a soap opera and I get into the character, how my subconscious sees what I'm seeing. Sees that it's real. And it sees it's real. I see the injustice, the impotence, and if the wicked one wins, it is always the good triumphs. Not always, but how I enjoy that. How do they manage my emotions? What are my subconscious? Just think about it. It's all real. For my subconscious, it's all real. That's why Yahweh said very clearly, do not make any graven images of anything. Because an image, how are you going to see it? Exactly. They make a wooden image and they... It don't matter, that wooden image, and then they ask things as if they were a god. What does that happen? They see it as how? Real. That's why Yahweh said, do not make yourself any graven image of anything in heaven or on earth or in the waters. Nothing. Nor worship nothing, because you're going to see it as real. Are you seeing the sense of it all? You see it clearly. So then for my subconscious, it's all real. And the last one is, others do not exist. It's all about me. Every emotion has to do with me. What I reject in others is I. The only thing that exists is what? The I. I alone. So then, listen well. I'm going to speak a little bit more about this because I thought about giving you more things, but that'll be next bat. If you find this interesting, because maybe I'm a charlatan, maybe it's more interesting what a pastor says, or the Virgin, and let's pray to Jesus. Maybe that's more interesting. I have criticism everywhere. I didn't speak against the parents. I have criticism that I don't read any more texts. But don't you notice that I'm applying what Yeshua said? Everything which Yeshua said, I'm applying it. If you want more texts, then go back to see the previous chapters. It's full of them. But we have to understand this, which is marvelous. All of Scripture talks about this. So then, the others do not exist. Everything that my subconscious sees is me. It's all about me. My subconscious does not think in others ever. Thinks about what? In I. My subconscious does not think in Elohim. For my subconscious, Elohim does not exist. The only one that exists is in my conscious mind, but my subconscious. You think that they're going to pray? Father, help me, says my subconscious. No, it doesn't say that. My subconscious shows me when I am in incoherence. Very well. What does this mean? This means clearly, pay attention. If a person detests something in other persons, they detest it. It has to do with the law of attraction. The law of attraction means that I'm going to attract everything which I need to heal or treat. I'm going to attract everything which I need. Pay attention. Listen well. The law of attraction means I'm going to attract everything that I need. Very well. One says I need a lot of money. All I have is shit. Misery and more misery. Debts. And I want to attract money. Money come to me. Money come to me. Abundance come to me. The only thing that I attract is bitterness. Nothing but headaches. It doesn't work. They said, yes, it does work. Another person says, I want to have a boyfriend that's a good person, and everyone that I have as a boyfriend cheats on me. All my boyfriends cheat on me. They say they love me, and I fall in love, and they cheat on me. When they cheat on me, I abandon and look for another one. This one will be faithful, and he cheats on me again. Look for the last one, and he got with my sister. All the ones that I look for cheat on me. Why? I want to attract somebody that's noble, good, to love me, and I attract all these sons of bitches. So then, what's happening? The law of attraction, 100%, 100%. It is fulfilled. Another one could say, well, I don't want to give you more examples. You understood. That is the law of attraction, okay? That is the law of attraction. So then, what is it trying to teach me? My subconscious mind, only I exist. No one else other than me. So then when I hate, this will be difficult for you to understand. If you don't understand, don't you worry. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it. I'm going to tell it to you. Maybe you understand it. Maybe it's difficult for you to understand. Everything that I hate in another person is because I have it. And I am the one doing it. If I see a gay person and it causes me nausea and I hate, it's not that, well, I'm not gay and that's it, it's fine. Let gays exist. Elohim says that to be gay is a sin, but it doesn't make me get nauseous to reject someone like that. 1,000 times I told you, I don't have any problems if Elohim saves all the gays. What problem is there? 144,000 and then only a couple gays in there. I don't have any problem. But there are people, what is he saying? The one that's thinking it is because within there's something gay. And I reject that which I don't want to see in me. So then when I see a person, my subconscious mind, when I see a person, is looking at himself. Because for my subconscious, the other person does not exist. So then when I direct myself to the other, my subconscious talks to the other one and seeing what? A mirror. And when I say, how I hate that what you're doing to me, I have to look within me that my subconscious is talking to me that I have a problem. So then how do we discover what incoherences we have? Start to notice what you hate. What do you hate? What do you hate in your wife? What do you hate for people to do to you? Because you precisely what you need for people to do to you, they will do to you. Because you need is to get better and heal yourself and your clan above you and your children below. So then, if you have a rejection towards something, look for that rejection in yourself because you're only seeing a mirror in that person. And life or Elohim brings you that person so that you learn and it is your teacher to heal you. So then, everything that happens to us, they shit on me. The one that's speaking is the ego. Who is that me? Ego. They shit on me because my ego's great and they shit on my ego and my ego's not going to do everything possible to fix that. So then my subconscious works and says, what did they shit on your ego? You're the ego. I'm going to help you to solve it in cancer. Now, if I reduce that ego and I make the essence grow, which is the contrary to ego, I make the essence grow, then I see that which people are doing to me, life brought it to me so that I learn. So that I learn. What do I have to learn? To look for what I reject. Because what I reject, I do it. But I encapsulate it in the shadow of my subconscious mind. I keep it there. But when I see it in another person, I project it and another person says, aha, it's a piece of shit. In order to demonstrate to me that I reject that in light, but in the shadow of my subconscious, that shit is I. When I say, you stupid person, you stupid idiot, and most of you're a stupid idiot, and a person sees a person that is a bad act, a stupid act, and the person says, you did it because you're an idiot, because you're not as intelligent as I am. What I am demonstrating is that in my interior, in my subconscious mind, I feel like a stupid idiot. And I cover myself up of something that I'm not in order to make an effort to not be a stupid idiot because I feel stupid. I feel so stupid that I make an effort to demonstrate that I'm not stupid. So then I say, look how intelligent I am. I do things like this and like that. I do not make a mistake. I'm almost Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect has a problem inside of losing value. That's why others make an effort so that they don't see that he's really an idiot. Because he feels an idiot. Not that he is, but he feels like an idiot. So then when he sees something stupid that he would do if he wasn't so careful, says, you stupid idiot, but he's calling himself that. I'll explain this again so that you understand it. But when I attack something in someone else, I have to immediately, it is a tool for me to see what is wrong in me. If I attack saying, you are no good, it's because I feel very good. Actually, I feel like I'm no good. But very deep inside. But I hide it. I keep it. And the way I feel that I'm no good, I make an effort to be good at something. It is my motivation to serve something. And of course, this is to make an effort to serve something. I'll serve for something. But my motivation and my subconscious, my core inside, my essence inside, thinks what? That I am no good. But in order for them not to see my nakedness, I clothe myself that I am good, and I make an effort and I make an effort to serve, and the people say, this guy serves. So then a bodybuilder that is 4 hours a day in the gym, and he sacrifices his health, taking steroids and anabolics and a whole bunch of shit in order to have muscles like this and to look like that and for people to see him like that. How's his interior? How does he feel inside? He feels that he is no good and he's weak. He is a figure of weakness, and to get over that weakness figure, unless he heals it, because we're talking about healing, the way of healing the weak is not to be a bodybuilder. It's not to work out. The way of healing is getting to the root of the problem of why you feel weak. And that I will explain next Shabbat. Why? Because it is long. It is long because it is the war between ego and essence. When I believe that I give excuses of why instead of looking for what for. When I think that I need things because I need everything in life, I need everything. And the one that is conscience really has absolutely everything and has extra. But the one that is always in egotistical, I need this, I need love, I need my father, I need my mother, I need a good job, everything. They all shit on me, they're all a piece of shit. They're completely in a dual mind, where the one that commands and is the ego. They all shit on me. I am a victim. The victim of my mother, the first bitch that shit on me. Then the victim of my father. He was a son of a bitch, really. And then it was victim of school. The people bullied me, a victim. And then a victim of my girlfriend, my wife, my job. This world is a piece of shit. It's all a piece of shit. They'll attack me. I'm the victim. And as long as I am as a victim, where will I end up? I'll end up in the hole. And quickly. Because the whole problem that I have is your fault. The cancer that I have is your fault. And the ulcer that I have is your fault. And if I'm going deaf, is your fault. It's all others' fault. I'm perfect. I wish I was born somewhere else with loving father and mother, everything. But it's all fucked. And to top it off, one came and he raped me, another person would say, right? And then later, my uncle came and he fucked me up even worse. And everything is a great piece of shit. And I said, I wish I had the best children in the world, and I have two incoherent pieces of shit. No good for anything, my children. That is how the guy thinks. And he sees his children, and he sees precisely in his children, he'll see what bothers him. Because that's why they were born, to heal you. But as long as I cannot identify that, I'll see my children. What? You're an idiot. It says, you are no good. You'll never learn from me. Learn from me. Because precisely I see characteristics that my son has that are mine. And I hate them. And I attack them, and I end up destroying my children because everybody is guilty, from my father into my children. The only innocent one is I. I'm victim. Always that I find the victim says it's others' guilt. This son of a bitch gave me green, white hair. What do you mean? But who? What do you mean he gave you green, white hair? No, it's an impossible life. No, you did that to yourself, thinking and feeling what the other did. The other came to heal you. You have a husband that cheats on you. Precisely, life chose it for you because you need it. It's your best teacher. What do you mean? How are you saying that? If I'm a virgin and I thought of marrying, so I always took care of myself in order for nobody to touch, not even a tit. If they would touch my hand here already, I would get nervous because I was covered up to here. I didn't want for anyone to touch anything. And then I would feel a little bit, I wouldn't want to touch myself and think, because I thought it was a sin. I would put cold water on myself. Or I would start to pray, Jesus, Jesus, what I'm feeling. Oh, there's a strange thing that I'm feeling, strange fire. It's my cult, mea culpa, my guilt. And then I marry some guy that I think will be like me. And the son of a bitch cheats on me always with my best friend. I found them. Precisely, you married the person that is ideal in order to heal all your sicknesses. How are you telling me this? If the one that cheats on me and the prostitute is him. No. What bothers to you about that cheating is you. You have to look where it is. You were a prostitute all your life. You thought you were holy woman. You thought that because of that ego, you denied yourself so many things that precisely you didn't live. And he comes to heal your fallacies. That's the way it is. Sometimes we think that perfection is the perfection. I don't want to talk about this a lot because I'll speak it later on, something that's shocking, but I won't tell it to you right now. But everything that happens to us, every girlfriend, wife, husband that we have, every children that we have, comes as a teacher to teach us. If we're willing to learn, it is marvelous. We heal ourselves, we heal our parents, we heal our children. But if we are not willing to change and to see things differently, then we are doomed to repeat the cycle of the clan and die from a worse sickness because we were not able to change and heal ourselves. So then we make the responsibility to our children, and our children receive all our fallacies and sins, like the Bible says, that they receive the sins from parents to children. They receive all that emotional charge. They'll live their life and they'll be able to heal. They cannot heal. They'll put that burden on their children, and we take the burdens on us until somebody comes like us with tools and says, it's over, I'm going to heal. And we start to heal ourselves from all our ailments, and something marvelous happens. We start to be owners of ourselves and not our ego, owners of us. We learn that we have to let things go, not hold on to things. Mothers get sick because they hold on to their children. In such a way, they hold on that they think that they're responsible of, even when they're married, of continuing to support them. And that you see that in the breast cancers. They do not know how to let them go. They don't know how to accept that their children left. They left the nest, and you don't have to take care of them anymore. But when we violate these biological laws of wanting to continue to take care of our little 40-year-old pigeon. So then you have cancers of all types. When we see our husband as a child, when we do not accept things because our husband does evil things and we don't notice that what he's doing that is that evil, is so that we learn. Not because he's evil, but because life will bring it to you, because it is the law of attraction. It will bring it to your life so that you say, why is this bothering me so much in my husband? It must be that I have it inside. I have it encapsulated, like an encapsulated cancer. When I see him, I project my weakness in him, and I attack the weakness. Are you following? Did you understand what I'm saying? When I hate and detest something, it is because that something is a reflection of me. I cannot attack him ever again and have hate towards a gays if there was not gay within me. That makes me so fearful what I feel that I cannot even annul it consciously, but when I have it before me, I feel nauseous. That nausea is towards myself. Because one thing is to say he's gay, that's fine, it's his life. He can choose. But when I say, for example, if my child were gay, I would kick him out and I wouldn't let him back in ever again. I would say, from now, you don't have a father. If that is my attitude, what do I have to interpret now that I know these things? That there's something very gay within me. And I have it encapsulated because it shames me so much that when I see it in others, I say, aha! Instead of judging myself, I prefer to judge others. Yeshua taught this. It says, before you point to the eye of your brother, notice that you have something huge in your eye. What? Yeah, that thing that bothers you, you have something huge in your eye. Oh, I'm attacking him, but gay says you have something even more gay than that one. Who told us that? Yeshua did. It says, do not judge. Do not judge. Because when you judge, what I am judging is my own defects. It says, bitch. The bitch is I. The bitch is I hate bitches because I feel like a bitch. Until I get over that and heal that, I'm going to see bitches like another profession. Not the most convenient one. But it's not going to bother me. Oh, you filthy bitch. It's not going to bother me like that. Because as I see, oh, what a filthy prostitute, I am projecting my internal image. Yeshua said, that bothers you? Well, you have a huge whore inside of you. A whore? Yes, you are a whore. When I attack something, remember this. I'm giving you a brutal tool if you understood it. When I attack, you're a stupid idiot. No, I'm the stupid one. I'm the stupid. What? Yeah, I'm the stupid one. I'm the stupid one. So then why am I going to say stupid if I'm the stupid one? But not to call him a stupid idiot if I'm the stupid one. And with that, I start to see why I'm a stupid idiot. I start to realize, not I can explain that today because many need therapy. Why am I stupid? They don't fix just by saying, okay, I think I'm a stupid idiot. I'll continue being a stupid idiot. What am I going to do? Therapy to discover why I feel like a stupid idiot. And so then, you're a stupid idiot. You fucking idiot. A whole bunch of things. And then I say, but why did my dad treat me like that? Because you have to see why the dad of my dad treat him that way. Because he cannot give me what he does not have. He'll give me what he does have. So then, when I comprehend that, first I say, oh, what a piece of shit dad I had. And my mom and dad, the worst thing there is. Why is it that they're the worst? Because they treated me like that. Why did they treat me that way? Well, because they could not do any better. But in order to get to that process of saying, I had some piece of shit parents, in order to understand what I'm saying, first we have to start to open layers that we have as sacred. So then when I see what bothered me in my father, I notice that he did the best thing in his mind or gave me what he had to give. So then I can start to see and yield forgiveness to him. Even though the forgiveness is an act that's highly egotistical, because when you forgive, who are you to forgive? I forgive. Who are you to forgive? Hold on, I didn't do anything to you. So then you have to understand, I cannot explain this today because there's no time, but you have to understand well that it is not simply to forgive my parents, but also to understand that they did the best thing possible and they gave me these problems in order for me to cure them. So then it's not just that I have to forgive them, but rather I have to understand that they did well. Because to forgive them is to say, okay, that's it, you're still evil, you're son of a bitch either way. But I'm going to forgive you because I'm good. I'm almost like God. So then, since I'm almost like God, and even though you did so many things against me, you called me a stupid idiot, and you'd hit me and abandoned me, and placed me in a boarding school, who knows what you have in your mind that your parents did to you. But we don't have to forgive them unless we understand that they really have no guilt. When they don't have guilt, what are you going to forgive? They understand perfectly well. They did the best thing for me. So then I start to heal all this, but this is a therapy. That obviously you need help from people or even help for yourselves when you learn techniques of liberation. But you cannot liberate anything emotionally as long as you recognize it. So then we were all abandoned, all of us. And in some point in time, we were all overprotected. Maybe some didn't see any overprotection, but they were abandoned entirely. But some of you can see that in your mother, she overprotected you. So then when we were abandoned, we feel something. When we were overprotected, we feel something else. Whatever it may be that you felt, you needed that to grow. Because now with the tools, you say, okay, I'm going to cure that. I'm going to cure this and that. I'm going to justify my life. If you want to forgive them, but you don't have to forgive them because your mother did the best thing possible. First, recognize that she was a piece of shit. Then you recognize, no, she was not a piece of shit because actually she did what she had to do. So then I stopped seeing her as a piece of shit. I see that she gave me the best thing possible to give. So then if she gave me the best thing possible to give me, why am I going to forgive her? Do you understand? Or am I confusing you? Tell me, do you understand? Or am I confusing you? When I say I start to forgive my parents, I become as God. I have to understand first, to understand the fallacies that I feel, or else I cannot get them out. And then once I get them out, I say, okay, but could my mom could have been better? No. And if she could not have been better, then why am I going to judge her? I'm not going to judge her anymore. First, I got everything out that I had against. Then I don't judge her. My father, why did he abandon me? Why did he go with another woman? Because my dad had an internal abandonment inside. If he does not know who he is, how's he going to recognize me? In order for somebody to recognize me as a son, he has to recognize himself as a person first. So then when I first say my dad was a son of a bitch, abandoned my mom and abandoned me, didn't give me $1, left me there. But I want to demand something from somebody that I think they have something to give, but in their mind, they don't have anything to give. Do you understand? When I comprehend that they don't have anything to give, then I say, Dad, you could not have given me what you didn't have to give me. So then I comprehend and I say, thank you, Dad. But all these programs that I have, I give them back to you. I have other from my mother, and I give her back. I want to be free. And I get out, you know what, that hate that you have against your parents, because they all have hate towards their parents. Unless they all have hate towards their parents, hidden or consciously. Many said, no, I really hate her. That it's an easier case to fix. One says, no, my mom's perfect. That guy is closed because their mother is perfect. So then first, you have to comprehend that his mother was not perfect. There is no perfect mother. When I see my father is evil, I am the bad father. I don't know if you noticed. When I say my father is a son of a bitch, I'm the son of a bitch. Because I inherit from my father. I'm doing the same thing with my children. So then in order to be a better father, I have to learn where was my dad wrong, understand why he was wrong, see it and show it as a mistake, not as a sin, as a mistake. That mistake, I see it, I examine it, and I say, yes, it was a mistake. Didn't have anything else to give, but I already liberate myself from that, and I become a good father. When I see my dad as evil, it is because there's something within me that I see myself as a bad father. Do you understand? Because my dad abandoned me, I'm going to abandon my children, but maybe I abandoned them emotionally. Maybe I'm next to them the whole day, but emotionally I'm not there, because I'll repeat the cycle until I cure it. Very well, so then, only will we achieve to have health and peace when we are coherent. When that which I think is in agreement with what I must do, when all that, what I feel, with what I think, with what I do, is in agreement, we're in harmony, then you have health. The symptom comes to show me where I am failing. When the symptom shows me where I'm failing, I have to go directly to see what is my incoherence. If my incoherence is this and that, what I have to do is change, because we're apprentices. When we think that we know everything, when we become victims or victimizers, we're not going to heal anything. From victims, we have to go to apprentices. Then, from victim, I see my dad as evil. When I become an apprentice, I see as my dad, that what he gave me is what he had to give, and what he didn't give me, he didn't have to give. So then, I start to see, and what he didn't have to give me, what is that? Is that? Okay, I comprehend it. Once I comprehend it, I heal the evil in my family, because if I do not heal it, I am doomed to pass it on to my children. Doomed to pass it on. Imagine that we can continue on with the guilt all the way up to Adam and Eve, because we don't stop. It was my dad, my grandfather, and Eve. And that's the way it is. How did it all start? With Eve. So then the guilt of everything, all my evils is Eve. That's what Paul said. Didn't Paul say that? He said, because of one man, sin entered Adam and Eve. Then because of a man comes healing. Paul of Tarsus said that in his mind and in his doctrine. But what I wanted to tell you today is that the fifth law, the fifth essence, shows me a symptom. When I see that symptom, the question that I have to ask myself is, what for? Not why, what for? The why is why. No, it's what for. I'll repeat again. The fifth essence comes related to a question. What for? Do I have this symptom? Record that well. I have something red here. What for? I have a headache which is breaking my head. What do I have to ask? What for do I have this? When I start to react, what for? Then I start to understand, because the headache came because of some reason, not because of the virus. It came because of what for? Why do I have a knee pain? What do I have knee pain for? Or what do I have finger pain for? It could happen. So then there's always a what for, a what for, a what for, a what for. When I find what for this, I understand the what for. I understand the fifth essence, which is there is a specific reason in order for your body to develop a special program that has a biological sense. The biological sense is what for. Next Shabbat, we shall continue with this subject that's so impressive, and I will continue speaking to you about the subconscious and how to pass on from an incoherence entirely that we have in our lives. I'll talk about incoherences in this world also. Wow, I had a lot to tell you. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And we'll continue talking about this because the subject, actually, I want you to comprehend it well. I could have given to you in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, the fifth essence is the what for of the sicknesses. Okay, that's it. Let's go to prayer. 2 minutes in a narrow path. But I have the option, in order for this to be studied, to be listened to many times, and when you listen to it many times, you'll comprehend things that right now your mind is thinking about what I said 10 minutes ago and left you shocked. So then it'll allow you to understand everything. When I say that my parents are garbage, it's the first process to understand why they acted that way, and then later we end up justifying them, and we give thanks to Elohim due to the marvelous parents we had, because they came to be our teachers, and we are all have the charge of healing them, healing ourselves, and healing our children. But in order to initiate that whole process, we have to start to recognize the fallacies of our parents, because or else we don't know what we must heal. Did you understand? Alleluia. So then let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Blessed art thou, Yeshua HaMashiach. We give you thanks, Lord, because every word that you said of not judging, of actually seeing what is within when we attack something outside, that actually we are attacking an ailment, a weakness inside of ours. You have showed us marvelous things. Lord, we give you thanks because we are in this life in order to heal. You placed us in these conditions to heal us. If we had better conditions, we could not heal. Actually, the more we comprehend these things, we see that your work and ways are marvelous. Blessed art thou for all the ages. We are awaiting you, Lord. Once we're ready, come get us. All this I thank you for, in your precious name of the only Elohim of Israel, Yeshua HaMashiach. Alleluia. Many blessings to every one of you. We shall meet again, if the Lord allows it, next Shabbat.